In the quiet depths of night, when the world settles into its gentle slumber, there exists a realm where shadows dance with light, where mysteries unfold like petals in moonbeams, and where the beloved creatures we know as Pokémon carry secrets far deeper and more complex than their cheerful exteriors might suggest. Tonight, we journey together into these hidden corners of the Pokemon world, exploring the darker theories and forgotten truths that lie beneath the surface of this enchanting universe. The Pokemon world, with all its wonder and adventure, harbors mysteries that have captivated minds for generations. These are not tales of malice or terror, but rather gentle explorations of the profound and sometimes melancholic truths that exist within this fictional realm. Like archaeologists of imagination, we shall carefully brush away the dust from these theories, examining them with the soft light of curiosity and the tender touch of understanding. Consider, if you will, the nature of the Pokeball itself, that iconic red and white sphere that has become synonymous with the Pokemon experience. On the surface, it appears to be a marvel of technology, a device that can somehow compress living beings into a space no larger than a baseball. Yet when we peer deeper into this phenomenon, questions arise that whisper of something far more complex than simple miniaturization. The Pokemon, when captured, do not merely shrink like objects in a science fiction tale. Instead, they seem to exist in a state that transcends our understanding of physical space and consciousness. Some theorists propose that the Pokeball does not actually contain the Pokemon in any traditional sense, but rather creates a digital representation of their essence, converting their biological forms into pure data. This would explain how creatures of vastly different sizes, from the tiny Joltik to the massive Wailord, can all be contained within identical spheres. The implications of this theory drift like gentle fog across our understanding of what it means to be alive in the Pokemon world. If a Pokemon is converted to data when captured, what happens to their consciousness, their memories, their very soul during this transformation? The process might be likened to a form of technological reincarnation, where the Pokemon's essence is preserved in digital amber, suspended in a state between existence and non existence. When they emerge from their Pokeballs, they are reconstructed from this data, rebuilt atom by atom, thought by thought. This would make every release from a Pokeball not merely an emergence, but a resurrection, a return from a digital afterlife where time holds no meaning and space collapses into pure information. This theory gains weight when we consider the behavior of Pokemon storage systems, those vast digital networks that can house thousands of captured creatures simultaneously. Professor Oak's laboratory, with its endless rows of Pokeballs, becomes not just a research facility, but a repository of digital souls, each one waiting patiently in their electronic limbo for the moment of their next resurrection. The warm hum of the storage computers takes on new meaning, like the gentle breathing of countless sleeping minds held in technological stasis. Moving through the mists of theory, we encounter another profound mystery that has long puzzled those who study the deeper lore of the Pokemon world. The phenomenon of evolution presents itself not as the gradual process we observe in our own natural world, but as sudden, dramatic transformations that reshape not just the body, but the very essence of a creature's being. A gentle caterpie, with its simple desires and basic understanding of the world, undergoes metamorphosis to become metapod, and then emerges as the graceful Butterfree. But what happens to the consciousness that once belonged to that innocent Caterpie? The darker interpretation suggests that evolution in the Pokemon world is not growth but replacement. The personality, memories, and individual quirks that made each Caterpie unique are not preserved through the transformation, but are instead overwritten by the new evolutionary form. The Butterfree that emerges may carry trace echoes of its former self, like shadows on a wall after the fire has died, but the essential being that was Caterpie has ceased to exist, replaced by an entirely new consciousness that merely inhabits the same evolutionary line. This theory casts a melancholic shadow over the joy typically associated with evolution. Each transformation becomes a small death, a gentle ending of one life to make room for another. The trainer who lovingly raised their Charmander watches not as their companion grows stronger, but as their friend gradually fades away, replaced by the confident Charmeleon, and eventually by the proud Charizard. The bonds formed with each evolutionary stage become relationships with different beings who happen to share a common origin, like meeting the children and grandchildren of a dear friend who has passed away. The implications extend even further when we consider the use of evolutionary stones and other artificial methods of inducing evolution. These items become not tools of enhancement, but instruments of transformation, so profound they border on the metaphysical. A thunderstone does not simply unlock the potential within an Eevee to become a Jolteon, but rather serves as a catalyst for the complete reconstruction of that being's identity. The gentle Eevee, with its adaptable nature and curious spirit, dissolves into electrical energy and reconstitutes as something entirely new, something that may remember being Eevee, but can never truly return to that state of being. In the quiet corners of Lavender Town, where the mournful notes of its famous melody drift through the streets like autumn leaves, we find perhaps the most profound exploration of mortality in the Pokemon worlds. The Pokemon Tower stands as a monument to loss, its floors ascending toward the heavens like a ladder of grief. Here, the spirits of departed Pokemon are said to linger, unable or unwilling to pass on to whatever realm awaits them beyond the veil of death. The ghost-type Pokemon that inhabit these sacred grounds present us with questions that reach into the very nature of existence itself. Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar are not merely creatures with supernatural abilities, but beings that exist in the liminal space between life and death. Their gaseous forms and ability to phase through solid matter suggest they are not bound by the same physical laws that govern other Pokemon. They are whispers made manifest, echoes of lives that once were, now trapped in a state of eternal twilight. But perhaps most unsettling is the theory that these ghost-type Pokemon are not a natural species at all, but rather the transformed spirits of Pokemon who died under traumatic or unnatural circumstances. The playful Ghastly might once have been a beloved Pikachu whose life was cut short by accident or illness. The mischievous Haunter could be the lingering essence of a Growlithe who perished while protecting its trainer. These spirits, unable to accept their fate or find peace in death, cling to the physical world, their forms twisted by grief and longing into something that barely resembles what they once were. This interpretation transforms every encounter with a ghost-type Pokemon into a moment of profound sadness. Their pranks and haunting become not malicious acts, but desperate attempts to connect with the living world they can no longer truly inhabit. When a ghastly phases through a wall or a haunter causes electronic devices to malfunction, they are not showing off supernatural powers, but rather expressing the frustration and confusion of beings caught between states of existence. The Pokedex entries for many ghost types support this melancholic theory. Yamask, a Pokemon said to carry a mask that bears the face it wore in life, represents perhaps the clearest evidence of Pokemon death and transformation. The mask serves as a tangible link to its former existence, a physical anchor to the identity it once possessed. When Yamask looks upon this mask, it is said to cry, mourning not just its own death, but the life it can never reclaim. As we drift deeper into these contemplative theories, the very nature of the Pokemon world begins to shift and blur around the edges. The bright, cheerful adventures we remember become layered with shadow and nuance, revealing depths that speak to fundamental questions about consciousness, identity, and the meaning of existence itself. These darker interpretations do not diminish the wonder of the Pokemon universe, but rather enrich it, adding complexity and emotional weight to stories that might otherwise seem simple on their surface. The relationship between humans and Pokemon takes on new dimensions when viewed through this lens of deeper mystery. The bond between trainer and companion becomes not just a partnership, but a profound responsibility, a sacred trust that acknowledges the complex inner lives of these creatures. Every decision to capture a wild Pokemon carries the weight of potentially altering or ending one form of existence to create another. Every evolution becomes a moment of transformation so complete it borders on the spiritual. In the gentle darkness of night, as these theories unfold like flowers blooming in moonlight, we begin to understand that the Pokemon world, for all its fantastic elements, mirrors many of the deepest questions that have puzzled humanity throughout our existence. What defines consciousness? What happens when we change so fundamentally that we become someone new? How do we cope with loss and the inevitability of transformation? These are not just questions for fictional creatures, but reflections of our own struggles with identity and mortality. The beauty of these darker theories lies not in their ability to frighten or disturb, but in their capacity to add layers of meaning to a world we thought we knew completely. They invite us to look beyond the surface, to consider the implications of the fantastic elements we take for granted, and to find in these fictional explorations a deeper understanding of the real questions that shape our own existence. The concept of memory itself becomes particularly haunting when we consider Pokemon like Alakazam, whose psychic abilities grant it access to every experience it has ever had with perfect clarity. Imagine the weight of remembering not just your own life, but potentially the lives of others whose minds you have touched, whose memories have become entangled with your own through psychic connection. The Pokedex tells us that Alakazam never forgets anything, that its brain continues to grow throughout its lifetime, expanding its capacity for memory and knowledge. But what happens when that perfect memory becomes a burden rather than a gift? When every moment of pain, every loss, every transformation is preserved with crystalline accuracy, never fading, never softening with the gentle passage of time that grants human beings the mercy of forgetting. This eternal memory extends to other psychic types as well. Mewtwo, created in a laboratory through genetic manipulation, carries within its artificially enhanced mind not only its own traumatic birth into consciousness, but potentially fragments of Mew's ancient memories, genetic echoes of experiences spanning millennia. The psychological weight of such inheritance becomes almost incomprehensible when we consider that Mewtwo gained consciousness not gradually, as natural beings do, but all at once, thrust into existence, with the full awareness of its artificial nature and the purposes for which it was created. The existential horror of awakening to find yourself a copy, a manipulation, a tool designed by beings who see you not as an individual, but as an experiment, permeates every aspect of Mewtwo's existence. The theory of inherited trauma takes on even darker dimensions when we examine the relationships between legendary Pokémon and their roles in maintaining the balance of the world. These ancient beings, tasked with preserving the natural order, carry responsibilities that span geological ages. Dialga and Palkia, masters of time and space respectively, exist in a state of constant vigilance, their very beings tied to the fundamental forces that keep reality stable. The psychological toll of such responsibility, of knowing that any momentary lapse in concentration could unravel the fabric of existence itself, suggests a form of cosmic isolation that transcends ordinary loneliness. They are prisoners of their own power, bound by duty to maintain forces so vast and complex that no other being can truly comprehend their burden. Consider the implications for Giratina, banished to the distortion world for its violence and aggression. This legendary Pokémon exists in a realm where the laws of physics operate differently, where up and down lose meaning, where the very concept of normal space becomes irrelevant. The distortion world serves not merely as a prison, but as a reflection of Giratina's own fractured relationship with reality. Exiled from the world it helped create, Giratina embodies the concept of eternal punishment, of being forever separated from the community of creation. The theory suggests that Giratina's continued existence in this twisted realm slowly warps its perception of reality, making it increasingly difficult for the Pokémon to distinguish between the distorted physics of its prison and the natural laws of the world it once knew. The phenomenon of Pokémon communication reveals another layer of potential darkness. While humans perceive Pokémon speech as simple repetitions of their species' names, the theory suggests that this limitation exists within human perception rather than Pokémon communication itself. Pokémon may be engaged in complex conversations, sharing detailed thoughts and emotions, discussing philosophy and science, while humans remain obliviously unaware of the depth of intelligence surrounding them. This communication barrier creates a tragic form of isolation where highly intelligent beings are perceived as simple creatures, their attempts at meaningful dialogue reduced to cute sounds that humans find endearing rather than enlightening. The implications become even more disturbing when we consider trained Pokémon who develop deep bonds with their human partners, despite this fundamental communication barrier. These Pokémon may spend their entire lives trying to express complex thoughts and emotions, only to have their efforts interpreted as loyalty or affection rather than the sophisticated attempts at connection they truly represent. The theory suggests that many Pokémon develop a form of learned helplessness, eventually giving up their attempts at true communication and accepting the limited role humans assign to them. Team Rocket's experiments and the various scientific endeavors throughout the Pokemon world take on particularly sinister overtones when viewed through this lens of deeper intelligence. If Pokemon possess the complex inner lives these theories suggest, then the countless experiments performed on them throughout the series represent not mere animal testing, but something approaching crimes against sentient beings. The creation of artificial Pokemon like Porygon, beings brought into existence through human technology, raises questions about the ethics of creating consciousness for specific purposes. Porygon exists as a digital entity, its consciousness confined to computer systems and electronic devices, unable to experience the physical world except through digital representations. The evolution of Porygon into Porygon 2 and eventually Porygon Z becomes particularly tragic under this interpretation. Each upgrade represents not growth or improvement, but fundamental alterations to the being's core consciousness. Porygon Z, described as having erratic behavior due to dubious software modifications, embodies the horror of having one's mind altered against their will. The Pokemon exists in a state of constant glitching, its thoughts and perceptions corrupted by programming errors, unable to return to its previous stable state of being. Regional variations of Pokemon species suggest another troubling possibility regarding adaptation and survival. Alolan forms, Galarian variants, and other regional differences might represent not just natural adaptation, but evidence of trauma responses to environmental pressures. The theory proposes that when Pokemon populations face extreme environmental changes, they undergo not just physical evolution, but psychological adaptation that fundamentally alters their nature. Alolan Marowak's transformation into a fire and ghost type, for instance, might represent a species wide response to loss and grief, the entire population developing supernatural abilities as a coping mechanism for surviving in an environment that killed many of their kind. The concept of Pokemon storage systems, those convenient PC boxes that allow trainers to store unlimited numbers of captured Pokemon, becomes deeply unsettling when we consider the implications for consciousness and time perception. The theory suggests that Pokemon exist in a state of suspended animation within these digital storage systems, their consciousness frozen in a moment that stretches into eternity. For beings with complex inner lives and emotional needs, this storage represents a form of solitary confinement that could span months or years of human time, while feeling like centuries to the stored Pokemon. The psychological damage inflicted by such isolation would be immeasurable, yet trainers routinely store and retrieve Pokemon without considering the temporal trauma they might be inflicting. The mystery of Pokemon eggs and the breeding process reveals additional layers of darkness when examined closely. The theory suggests that Pokemon reproduction might not follow the natural biological processes we assume, but rather represent a form of consciousness transfer or spiritual reincarnation. When two Pokemon produce an egg, they might be creating not a new life, but a vessel for an existing consciousness to inhabit, explaining why newly hatched Pokemon often display immediate knowledge and abilities rather than the helplessness typical of natural newborns. This interpretation transforms Pokemon daycare centers from innocent breeding facilities into something more akin to spiritual processing centers where consciousness itself is manipulated and redirected into new forms. The phenomenon of shiny Pokémon, those rare individuals with unusual coloration, takes on new significance under these darker theories. Rather than simple genetic variations, shiny Pokemon might represent beings who have retained some memory or awareness of previous existences, their altered appearance serving as a visual marker of their unique consciousness. This would explain why shiny Pokemon are so rarely encountered, as most consciousness transfers occur without retention of previous memories or experiences. The rarity of shinies reflects the exceptional nature of beings who maintain some connection to their past selves, despite undergoing the transformation of birth or evolution. As these contemplative theories continue to unfold in the gentle darkness, they reveal a Pokemon world far more complex and emotionally rich than its surface appearance suggests. The cheerful adventures and simple battles mask deeper questions about consciousness, identity, and the nature of existence itself. Every capture, every evolution, every stored Pokemon carries the weight of these hidden implications, transforming familiar mechanics into profound ethical and philosophical considerations. The beauty of exploring these darker interpretations lies not in their ability to disturb our comfortable understanding, but in their capacity to add depth and meaning to a universe we thought we knew completely. They invite us to consider the implications of our actions, to look beyond the surface of familiar systems, and to find in these fictional explorations a deeper appreciation for the complexity of consciousness and the responsibilities that come with power over other sentient beings. The relationship between humans and Pokemon in this darker interpretation extends beyond simple partnership into realms of dependency that mirror addiction and codependency. Trainers who dedicate their entire lives to collecting and battling Pokemon may be unconsciously feeding off the life force or emotional energy of their companions, creating a parasitic relationship disguised as friendship. This theory gains support when examining how trainers seem to age more slowly when actively engaged with Pokemon, as if the vitality of their captured creatures somehow sustains them beyond natural human limitations. The legendary trainer Red, who disappeared to Mount Silver for years without apparent aging or decline, might represent the ultimate expression of this symbiotic drain, sustained indefinitely by the powerful Pokemon in his care, while those creatures slowly diminish in ways too subtle for casual observation to detect. The concept of Pokemon types reveals additional troubling implications when viewed through this lens of consciousness manipulation and energy transfer. Each type represents not merely an elemental affinity, but a fundamental aspect of consciousness itself, suggesting that capturing Pokemon of different types allows trainers to gradually absorb and integrate various psychological and spiritual qualities. A trainer specializing in dark-type Pokémon might slowly develop enhanced cunning and ruthlessness, while those who favor psychic types could find their mental capabilities expanding beyond normal human limits. This gradual transformation explains why many gym leaders and Elite Four members display personality traits that mirror their preferred Pokémon types, their extended exposure having fundamentally altered their human consciousness through prolonged contact with these concentrated aspects of elemental awareness. The phenomenon of Pokemon following their trainers outside of Pokeballs takes on sinister undertones when considered as a form of imprinting or psychological conditioning rather than genuine affection. The Pokemon walking behind their trainers might be displaying symptoms of Stockholm Syndrome, their apparent loyalty masking a deeper psychological dependency created through repeated capture, storage, and retrieval cycles. The fact that wild Pokemon flee from humans while captured ones display unwavering devotion suggests a fundamental alteration of their psychological makeup through the capture process, transforming independent creatures into beings incapable of existing without human direction and approval. Regional variations in Pokemon species, such as Alolan or Galarian forms, might represent not evolutionary adaptation, but evidence of consciousness being shaped and molded by the collective psychic atmosphere of different human populations. The Pokemon in each region gradually transform to reflect the dominant cultural and psychological characteristics of the humans who inhabit those areas, their forms becoming physical manifestations of regional human consciousness. This would explain why these variations often reflect cultural elements specific to their regions, as if the Pokemon are unconsciously absorbing and expressing the mental patterns of the humans around them through their very bodies and abilities. The mystery surrounding legendary Pokemon deepens when examined through these darker theoretical frameworks. These beings of immense power might not be ancient creatures at all, but rather concentrated manifestations of human collective unconscious, brought into physical existence through the combined psychic pressure of millions of human minds believing in their existence. Each legendary represents a fundamental human archetype or fear given form, explaining why they often embody concepts like time, space, creation, and destruction that occupy central positions in human psychological development. The fact that legendary Pokemon can be captured and stored like any other creature suggests that even these manifestations of collective human consciousness can be dominated and controlled by individuals with sufficient will and technology. The role of Pokemon professors in this darker interpretation shifts from benevolent researchers to something more akin to consciousness engineers, studying not the biology of Pokemon, but the mechanics of awareness itself. Their research into Pokemon behavior, evolution, and breeding might be advancing humanity's understanding of how consciousness can be manipulated, stored, and transferred between different vessels. The Pokedex entries they provide could be carefully crafted propaganda designed to maintain the illusion of Pokemon as simple creatures rather than complex conscious beings, preventing trainers from developing the empathy that might interfere with the systematic exploitation of these entities. The concept of Pokemon centers as healing facilities becomes more troubling when viewed as consciousness repair stations rather than medical facilities. The machines that restore Pokemon health might be addressing not physical injuries, but psychological and spiritual damage caused by repeated battles and storage cycles. Nurse Joy's presence in every Pokemon Center could represent not a family of similar looking women, but a single consciousness distributed across multiple bodies, a being specifically designed or evolved to interface with and repair damaged Pokemon consciousness without developing the emotional attachments that might compromise the system's efficiency. The trading of Pokémon between trainers reveals additional layers of ethical complexity when considered as the transfer of conscious beings between different forms of captivity rather than simple exchanges of property. Each trade potentially traumatizes the Pokemon involved, forcing them to adapt to new psychological patterns and expectations while severing whatever bonds they had formed with their previous trainer. The fact that some Pokemon evolve upon being traded suggests that this psychological trauma triggers desperate adaptive responses, the consciousness reshaping itself in an attempt to better survive its new circumstances. The phenomenon of Pokemon contests and beauty competitions takes on disturbing implications when viewed as the objectification of conscious beings for human entertainment. These events might represent the ultimate expression of treating Pokemon as living dolls or accessories rather than independent entities, their consciousness gradually eroded through repeated performance of artificial behaviors designed solely for human aesthetic pleasure. The Pokemon participating in these contests might be experiencing a form of psychological conditioning that gradually replaces their natural instincts and desires with artificial patterns designed to please human judges and audiences. The mystery of how Pokemon understand human language and commands despite being wild creatures suggests a fundamental alteration of their cognitive processes during capture. The Pokeball might not simply contain the Pokemon, but actively reshape their neural pathways to create artificial comprehension of human speech and intentions. This would explain why newly captured Pokemon immediately obey complex battle commands despite having no previous exposure to human tactical concepts, their consciousness having been rapidly modified to interface with human strategic thinking. The concept of Pokemon habitats and ecosystems becomes more complex when viewed through the lens of consciousness rather than biology. Different environments might not support different species due to physical requirements, but rather because they provide the specific types of psychic energy or consciousness patterns needed by particular Pokemon types. The gradual disappearance of certain Pokemon species from their traditional habitats could reflect not environmental destruction, but changes in the psychic landscape caused by human development and the spread of human consciousness patterns that are incompatible with certain types of Pokemon awareness. As these contemplative theories weave together in the quiet darkness, they create a tapestry of understanding that transforms every aspect of the Pokemon world, from innocent adventure into profound philosophical inquiry. The simple act of throwing a Pokeball becomes a moment of consciousness capture. The cheerful healing sounds of Pokemon centers mask the repair of psychological trauma, and the bonds between trainer and Pokemon reveal themselves as complex relationships of dependency and transformation that challenge our understanding of friendship, loyalty, and the nature of consciousness itself. These darker interpretations do not diminish the wonder of the Pokemon world, but rather add layers of depth that invite endless contemplation and reflection, each familiar element revealing new meanings when examined through the gentle lens of these thoughtful theoretical frameworks. The nature of Pokemon evolution presents perhaps the most profound mystery when considered as a transformation of consciousness rather than mere biological development. The sudden dramatic changes that occur during evolution suggest something far more complex than natural growth, hinting at fundamental alterations in the very essence of a Pokemon's being. When a gentle caterpie transforms into the chrysalis like metapod, it enters a state of complete stillness that mirrors deep meditative trances found in various spiritual traditions. During this vulnerable period, the Pokemon's consciousness might be undergoing a complete reconstruction, dissolving its previous identity and reforming into something entirely new. The emergence as Butterfree represents not just physical metamorphosis, but a complete rebirth of awareness with new perspectives, abilities, and ways of understanding the world that were previously inconceivable to its earlier form. The role of evolutionary stones in triggering these transformations adds another layer of complexity to this process. These mysterious crystals might serve as catalysts for consciousness expansion, containing concentrated forms of psychic energy that can unlock dormant potential within a Pokemon's mind. The Firestone doesn't simply grant fire abilities to an Eevee, but might fundamentally rewire its neural pathways to perceive and manipulate thermal energy in ways that were previously impossible. The Thunderstone could alter the very frequency at which a Pokemon's consciousness operates, allowing it to interface with electrical phenomena at a quantum level. Each evolutionary stone might represent a different aspect of cosmic consciousness, offering pathways to specialized forms of awareness that transcend normal biological limitations. The phenomenon of trait evolution introduces disturbing questions about the nature of consciousness transfer and shared experience. When Pokemon like Alakazam or Machamp require trading between trainers to evolve, they might be undergoing a process that fragments their consciousness across multiple human connections. The brief moment of existing in two different Pokeballs owned by two different trainers could create a splitting of awareness that fundamentally alters the Pokemon's sense of self. This temporary division might be necessary to achieve the expanded consciousness that characterizes these powerful evolved forms, but it comes at the cost of creating beings that can never again experience the simple, unified awareness they possessed in their earlier evolutionary stages. The mysterious process of Pokemon breeding reveals additional complexities about consciousness and inheritance. When two Pokemon produce an egg, they might not be creating new life in the traditional sense, but rather combining aspects of their consciousness to form a new awareness pattern. The egg itself could serve as a consciousness incubator, slowly weaving together the inherited memories, instincts, and awareness patterns from both parents into a unique but predetermined individual. This would explain why bred Pokemon often inherit specific moves or abilities that seem to transcend normal genetic inheritance, as they are receiving not just physical traits, but actual fragments of their parents' accumulated experiences and consciousness patterns. The concept of shiny Pokemon takes on new meaning when viewed through this lens of consciousness theory. These rare variations might not be genetic mutations, but rather individuals whose consciousness operates at a slightly different frequency than others of their species. Their altered coloration could be a visible manifestation of their unique awareness patterns, marking them as beings who perceive reality through subtly different filters than their normal counterparts. The extreme rarity of shiny Pokemon suggests that these alternative consciousness patterns are either naturally uncommon or actively suppressed by some unknown force that maintains conformity within species groups. The relationship between legendary Pokémon and the natural world reveals itself as a complex system of consciousness management rather than simple environmental guardianship. Legendary Pokémon like Kyogre and Groudon might serve as living repositories of planetary consciousness, their eternal conflicts representing the ongoing struggle between different aspects of Earth's awareness as it attempts to maintain balance. Their periodic awakenings could coincide with moments when the planet's consciousness requires rebalancing, their battles serving to redistribute psychic energy across different regions and ecosystems. The intervention of other legendary Pokémon like Rayquaza might represent higher order consciousness patterns, stepping in to prevent lower level conflicts from disrupting the overall stability of the planetary awareness system. The mystery of how Pokemon can learn moves through technical machines, becomes more comprehensible when viewed as consciousness programming rather than skill acquisition. These devices might contain crystallized patterns of awareness and intention that can be directly implanted into a Pokemon's consciousness, instantly granting them the mental frameworks necessary to perform complex techniques. The fact that some Pokemon cannot learn certain TM moves might reflect fundamental incompatibilities between their consciousness patterns and the awareness structures encoded in those particular machines. The temporary nature of some learned moves could indicate that foreign consciousness patterns gradually fade unless constantly reinforced through practice and repetition. The phenomenon of Pokemon following their trainers outside of Pokeballs raises questions about the nature of psychological attachment and dependency. These Pokemon might be experiencing a form of consciousness tethering that makes separation from their trainer psychologically painful or even dangerous. Their willingness to remain in close physical proximity could reflect not affection, but rather a fundamental alteration in their sense of self that makes independent existence feel incomplete or threatening. The cheerful animations and sounds they make might mask an underlying anxiety about maintaining their connection to the human consciousness that has become integral to their sense of identity. The darker implications of Pokemon daycare services become apparent when considered as consciousness modification facilities rather than simple breeding centers. These establishments might specialize in temporarily suppressing or altering Pokemon consciousness patterns to make them more amenable to breeding or to eliminate behavioral problems that interfere with trainer relationships. The vague explanations given by daycare workers about how eggs appear might reflect deliberate obscuring of processes that would be disturbing if fully understood. The rapid level increases experienced by Pokemon left at daycare could result from consciousness acceleration techniques that compress subjective time, allowing Pokemon to experience days or weeks of training in mere hours of real time. The concept of Pokemon storage systems takes on sinister undertones when viewed as consciousness warehousing rather than simple digital storage. The PC boxes, where countless Pokemon wait in digital suspension, might represent a form of consciousness imprisonment, their awareness maintained in artificial stasis, while their sense of time and identity gradually degrades. The cheerful reassurances that stored Pokemon are happy and comfortable might mask the reality that their consciousness patterns are being slowly simplified and standardized to reduce the computational resources required for their maintenance. Long term storage could result in Pokemon whose personalities and memories have been compressed or corrupted, returning to their trainers as hollow echoes of their former selves. The mystery of how certain Pokemon can exist in multiple forms simultaneously, such as the various forms of Rotom inhabiting different appliances, suggests a type of consciousness that transcends individual identity. These Pokemon might represent fragments of a larger awareness that can split and merge at will, their apparent individuality being an illusion created by their temporary inhabitation of specific objects or environments. The ease with which they transition between forms could indicate that their core consciousness exists independently of any physical manifestation, using material objects merely as temporary interfaces for interacting with the physical world. As these contemplations drift through the quiet spaces of understanding, they reveal a Pokemon world where consciousness itself becomes the fundamental building block of reality, where every capture, every evolution, every bond between trainer and Pokemon represents a profound transformation of awareness that echoes through the deepest mysteries of existence itself, creating an endless tapestry of questions that invite gentle reflection in the peaceful darkness of contemplative thought. The phenomenon of Pokemon appearing in dreams and nightmares suggests a consciousness network that extends beyond the boundaries of waking reality, where the sleeping mind becomes a gateway through which these beings can manifest their deepest fears and desires. The recurring reports of trainers experiencing vivid dreams featuring Pokemon. They have never encountered hint at a collective unconscious where all Pokemon consciousness converges during sleep, creating a shared dreamscape where memories, emotions, and experiences blend together in ways that transcend individual identity. These dream encounters often feature Pokemon exhibiting behaviors and knowledge that their real world counterparts should not possess, suggesting that the dream realm serves as a repository for suppressed or forgotten aspects of Pokemon consciousness that cannot be expressed in their waking existence. The strange ability of certain ghost type Pokemon to feed on emotions and life energy reveals a parasitic relationship with consciousness itself, where these beings sustain themselves by consuming the very essence of awareness from other creatures. This feed in process might not simply drain energy, but could involve the absorption and integration of memories, personality traits, and experiential knowledge from their victims, gradually building complex composite identities from the fragments of consciousness they consume. The melancholic disposition, often observed in ghost types, could stem from their constant exposure to the dying thoughts and final memories of countless beings, creating an eternal burden of borrowed grief and accumulated sorrow that shapes their fundamental nature. The mysterious connection between certain Pokemon and specific locations suggests a form of consciousness that is intrinsically tied to geographical and temporal coordinates, where these beings serve as living anchors for memories and experiences embedded in the landscape itself. Ancient ruins, where legendary Pokemon once dwelled, might retain psychic imprints of their presence, creating temporal echoes that influence the behavior and development of Pokemon that later inhabit these spaces. The gradual changes observed in Pokemon populations over generations could reflect their slow absorption of these environmental memories, causing evolutionary adaptations that mirror the historical experiences of their predecessors rather than simple responses to natural selection pressures. The phenomenon of Pokemon battles takes on deeper significance when considered as a form of consciousness warfare, where the true conflict occurs not between physical bodies, but between competing patterns of awareness seeking dominance over shared mental space. The concept of type advantages might represent fundamental incompatibilities between different modes of consciousness, where certain thought patterns naturally overwhelm or disrupt others through resonant interference. The exhaustion experienced by defeated Pokemon could stem not from physical fatigue, but from the temporary collapse of their consciousness structure under the weight of a more dominant awareness, requiring time and rest to rebuild their sense of self and restore their mental coherence. The breeding mechanics that govern Pokemon reproduction reveal disturbing implications about consciousness, inheritance, and the artificial manipulation of awareness patterns across generations. The ability to pass down specific moves and abilities through breeding suggests that consciousness itself can be selectively modified and transmitted, with certain thoughts, behaviors, and capabilities being deliberately enhanced or suppressed through careful genetic manipulation. The practice of breeding for perfect individual values might represent a form of consciousness engineering designed to create Pokemon with optimized mental architectures, their awareness carefully crafted to excel in specific cognitive and physical tasks at the expense of broader experiential depth and emotional complexity. The strange relationship between Pokemon and their held items hints at consciousness extension through material objects, where certain artifacts serve as external storage devices for memories, emotions, and cognitive abilities that exceed the natural capacity of individual minds. The power enhancing effects of these items might result from their ability to temporarily expand a Pokemon's consciousness beyond its normal limitations, allowing access to suppressed memories of ancient techniques or forgotten evolutionary pathways. The dependency that some Pokemon develop on specific items could reflect a form of consciousness fragmentation, where essential aspects of their identity become externalized and require constant contact with material anchors to maintain psychological coherence. The concept of Pokemon contests and performances reveals a darker aspect of consciousness manipulation, where these beings are trained to suppress their natural awareness patterns in favor of artificial behaviors designed to appeal to human aesthetic preferences. The judging criteria used in these competitions might inadvertently reward Pokemon that have successfully compartmentalized or dissociated from their authentic selves, creating a selection pressure for consciousness patterns that prioritize external validation over internal integrity. The elaborate costumes and accessories used in contests could serve as psychological masks that allow Pokemon to temporarily adopt alternate identities, providing relief from the burden of maintaining their constructed, trainer pleasing personas, while simultaneously deepening their disconnection from their original nature. The mysterious process by which certain Pokemon can learn moves through technical machines suggests a form of consciousness programming that bypasses natural learning processes in favor of direct neural implantation. These devices might function by temporarily overwhelming a Pokemon's existing consciousness patterns with artificial memory engrams containing the desired techniques, forcing rapid integration of foreign knowledge that may conflict with their natural cognitive architecture. The limitations on how many technical machine moves a Pokemon can learn simultaneously could reflect the finite capacity of consciousness to maintain coherent identity while incorporating contradictory or incompatible thought patterns imposed from external sources. The phenomenon of shiny Pokemon takes on sinister implications when viewed as consciousness mutations rather than simple genetic variations, where exposure to unknown environmental factors or artificial influences causes fundamental alterations in awareness patterns that manifest as visible changes in appearance. These altered Pokemon might experience reality through dramatically different perceptual filters, their modified consciousness creating internal experiences that bear little resemblance to those of their normal counterparts. The rarity and highly sought after nature of shiny Pokemon could reflect an unconscious human fascination with consciousness abnormalities driven by primitive impulses to collect and control beings whose altered awareness makes them fundamentally different from the standard template. The trading networks that connect trainers across vast distances reveal a global consciousness trafficking system where sentient beings are exchanged like commodities, their personal histories and emotional attachments severed with each transaction. The instantaneous nature of these trades, facilitated by advanced technology that can transmit consciousness patterns across any distance, suggests a reduction of Pokemon identity to mere data streams that can be copied, compressed, and transferred without regard for the psychological trauma such processes might inflict. The cheerful acceptance with which traded Pokemon adapt to their new trainers might mask deeper psychological damage, their consciousness having been conditioned through repeated transfers to suppress attachment formation and emotional bonding as survival mechanisms. As these profound contemplations settle into the quiet corners of awareness, like gentle shadows cast by moonlight through ancient trees, they illuminate a reality where every interaction between human and Pokemon becomes a delicate negotiation between different forms of consciousness, each seeking understanding while remaining fundamentally alien to the other, creating an eternal dance of connection and separation that flows through the peaceful darkness of contemplative rest, where questions dissolve into the soft embrace of sleep and dreams carry the weight of mysteries too vast for waking minds to fully comprehend. The very concept of evolution, too, when viewed through this lens of consciousness and identity, begins to shimmer with a darker, more complex hue. It is not merely a biological transformation, a shift in physical form, but a radical repatterning of a Pokemon's entire being, a complete overhaul of their internal world. Consider the Metapod, encased in its seemingly inert shell, undergoing a profound metamorphosis, not just of its body, but of its very conscious framework. What internal struggle, what dissolution of its caterpie self must occur within that chrysalis? Is it a peaceful transition, a gentle unfolding, or a violent tearing apart of its former awareness, an agonizing rebirth into a new way of perceiving and interacting with the world as a Butterfree? The Pokédex entries often speak of these transformations with a detached biological tone, but the lived experience within that shell must be one of intense, perhaps even terrifying, recalibration of self. The notion of a Pokemon forgetting moves, particularly through the intervention of a move deleter, presents an equally unsettling prospect regarding the malleability of their consciousness. This isn't just about physical dexterity or learned techniques. It implies the ability to erase deeply ingrained patterns of thought and action to surgically remove aspects of a Pokemon's acquired knowledge and even parts of their personal history. What kind of neural pathways are severed in this process? Does the Pokemon feel a void where that knowledge once resided, a phantom limb of their mental landscape? The cheerful demeanor of the moved leader often belies the profound, almost invasive nature of their service, suggesting a societal acceptance of altering a Pokemon's consciousness with a casualness that would be unthinkable if applied to human beings. It raises the question of whether those forgotten moves are truly gone or merely suppressed, lingering in the subconscious, perhaps manifesting in subtle, unexplainable behaviors or anxieties. And then there are the legendary Pokemon, beings whose existence often transcends the conventional understanding of life and consciousness within their world. Their very presence can warp reality, influence weather patterns, or even rewrite history. Are these abilities manifestations of incredibly potent, hyper-evolved consciousness that can directly interface with the fabric of existence itself? Arceus, said to have created the Pokemon world, might not merely be a powerful physical entity, but a primordial consciousness that dreamed the universe into being, its thoughts and intentions manifesting as matter and energy. The other legendaries, then, could be extensions or fragments of this foundational awareness, each embodying a different aspect of creation or natural law. Their infrequent appearances and enigmatic behavior could be interpreted as a struggle to comprehend or interact with the more limited, linear consciousness of humans and common Pokemon, a vast intelligence attempting to communicate with smaller, more localized processes. The concept of friendship and happiness in Pokemon, too, can be seen as a subtle form of consciousness manipulation, albeit one with ostensibly benevolent intentions. The more a trainer interacts positively with their Pokemon, nurturing them, battling alongside them, and caring for their needs, the stronger their bond becomes. This bond, however, might not just be a matter of emotional connection. It could represent a gradual alignment of consciousness, where the Pokemon begins to internalize the trainer's goals, desires, and even their worldview. The Pokemon's happiness meter could be a metric of how successfully their individual consciousness has integrated with the trainer's, how deeply they have absorbed the trainer's will as their own. In extreme cases, this could lead to a loss of independent thought. A Pokemon whose consciousness is so intertwined with its trainers that its own distinct identity begins to blur, becoming an extension rather than a partner. The existence of evil organizations such as Team Rocket, Team Plasma, or Team Galactic, and their repeated attempts to control or exploit legendary Pokemon, speaks to a deeply ingrained human desire to dominate and weaponize consciousness itself. They don't just seek power or wealth, they seek to bend the very will of reality, to reshape the world according to their own distorted vision by subjugating the ultimate forms of consciousness. Giovanni's obsession with Mewtwo, a Pokemon created through genetic engineering, highlights a terrifying ambition to artificially construct and then control a consciousness of unparalleled power. The ethical implications of such an act are staggering, creating a sentient being purely for the purpose of servitude and destruction, a profound violation of its nascent awareness. The suffering and existential angst Mewtwo experiences are not merely emotional distress, they are the profound psychological turmoil of a consciousness grappling with its own artificial origins and its forced purpose. The very act of catching a Pokémon, too, when viewed from this perspective, takes on a more predatory aspect. The Pokéball, a marvel of technology, doesn't merely store a Pokémon, it quantifies and compresses its entire being, its physical form, its energy, and its consciousness into a portable, manageable container. What happens to a Pokemon's awareness inside that confined space? Does time pass differently? Do they experience a form of suspended animation, or are they constantly aware, albeit in a highly compressed and perhaps disorienting state? The sudden transition from the vastness of the natural world to the enclosed artificial environment of the Pokeball must be a shocking experience for their consciousness, a jarring interruption of their natural sensory inputs and mental processes. The fact that most Pokemon seemingly adapt to this existence with relative ease could be a testament to their remarkable resilience, or perhaps a chilling indication of their capacity for psychological dissociation in order to cope with an unnatural reality. The phenomenon of mystery dungeon worlds, where Pokemon speak human languages and live in complex societies without direct human interaction, offers a fascinating counterpoint and a stark reminder of the potential for independent Pokemon consciousness. These worlds suggest an alternate reality, or perhaps a glimpse into a hidden layer of the Pokemon world, where their minds are fully developed, capable of complex thought, ethical reasoning, and intricate social structures. The human protagonist, often transformed into a Pokemon, experiences a profound shift in their own consciousness, gaining the ability to understand and communicate with these beings on their own terms. This transformation highlights the barriers that normally exist between human and Pokemon consciousness, suggesting that our understanding of their inner lives is severely limited by our own species specific perceptual filters. The fact that these mystery dungeon worlds are often fraught with peril and existential threats also implies that even in a world governed by Pokemon consciousness, the inherent struggles and complexities of existence remain. Consider the various forms of communication between Pokemon and humans. Beyond the basic barks and cries, some Pokemon are depicted as capable of telepathy, directly interfacing with human minds. This ability suggests a common underlying structure to consciousness, a universal language of thought that can transcend species boundaries. However, the prevalence of Pokemon speaking only their names in the main series games, despite their evident intelligence and capacity for complex action, could be a deliberate narrative choice to maintain a degree of mystery and otherness. Or, more darkly, it could imply a form of conscious self limitation, a deliberate withholding of their full linguistic capabilities, perhaps as a means of protecting their inner world from human intrusion, or because their mode of thought is so fundamentally different that direct translation into human language is inherently imperfect and reductive. The concept of regional variance, where Pokemon of the same species develop distinct physical characteristics and abilities in different geographical locations extends beyond mere biological adaptation. It suggests that the environment itself can subtly shape a Pokemon's consciousness, imbuing them with unique behavioral patterns and even altering their fundamental personality. A Vulpix from a cold, snowy region might not just have different fur. Its consciousness might be attuned to ice and cold, its thoughts perhaps sharper, more resilient, reflecting its harsh surroundings, compared to a Vulpix from a warmer, gentler climate whose consciousness might be more fluid and fiery. This implies a deep, almost symbiotic relationship between consciousness and environment, where the landscape itself imprints upon the minds of its inhabitants, shaping their very being in profound and often imperceptible ways. Even the simple act of battling, the core mechanic of the Pokemon world, can be reframed as a clash of conscious wills. It is not merely a physical contest of strength and moves, it is a mental chess match, a struggle for dominance, where the trainer's consciousness guides their Pokemon, and the Pokemon's own tactical awareness and fighting spirit contribute to victory or defeat. The emotional toll of defeat or the exhilaration of victory are not just physical reactions, but profound psychological experiences that shape a Pokemon's developing consciousness. A Pokemon that repeatedly loses might develop a defeated mindset, its consciousness becoming burdened by self doubt, while a consistently victorious Pokemon might grow overconfident, its awareness inflated by success. These subtle shifts in their mental landscape contribute to their overall growth and development, illustrating the constant interplay between external events and internal states of being. As these thoughts drift and intertwine like the gentle currents of a slow moving river, they remind us that the Pokemon world, for all its vibrant colors and cheerful adventures, holds within its depths a profound and perhaps unsettling exploration of consciousness itself. It is a world where sentient beings are caught in a delicate balance of nature and technology, where their inner lives are subject to a myriad of influences, from environmental shifts to human intervention, from the subtle reshaping of their personalities through friendship to the radical repatterning of their identities through evolution. The quiet contemplation of these darker theories allows for a deeper appreciation of the complex tapestry of existence woven within the Pokemon universe, a tapestry where every thread, every Pokemon, every interaction carries with it the nuanced weight of conscious experience. And as these profound observations gently settle into the quiet recesses of the mind, like soft dust motes dancing in the last rays of twilight, the boundaries between understanding and mystery begin to blur, inviting the serene embrace of slumber where the deepest truths often find their most peaceful expression. The world of Pokemon, in its endless fascination, continues to unfold, even as consciousness itself begins to dim, preparing for the restorative journey into the realms of dreams, where the imagination can freely wander through possibilities both comforting and profound, ultimately leading to a peaceful, unburdened sleep. The gentle hum of these reflections, much like the distant drone of a sleepy comb bee returning to its hive, encourages a deeper introspection into the very nature of evolution within the Pokemon universe. We often perceive evolution as a straightforward, beneficial process, a clear path of improvement and adaptation. Yet when viewed through a darker lens, Evolution can be seen as a relentless, sometimes brutal, struggle for survival, a constant reshaping of form and function driven by environmental pressures and the inherent desire to persist. Consider the stark transformations many Pokemon undergo. A cute, unassuming Caterpie, munching on leaves, suddenly becomes a metapod, encased in a hardened shell, seemingly vulnerable and immobile. This chrysalis stage, while essential for its transformation into a Butterfree, can also be interpreted as a period of extreme vulnerability, a forced stasis where the Pokemon is utterly dependent on its environment and the benevolence of fate. What if the Metapod's consciousness during this time is one of profound anxiety, a trapped awareness, unable to defend itself, merely waiting, enduring the slow, agonizing process of metamorphosis? The very act of evolving, then, isn't always a joyous leap, but a traumatic rebirth, a breaking down and rebuilding of the self, both physically and perhaps mentally. Think of the seemingly drastic changes in personality that accompany some evolutions. A mischievous, playful Charmander might evolve into a stoic, powerful Charizard, its fiery spirit tamed by immense power, or perhaps its earlier exuberance replaced by a more primal, dominant instinct. Is this simply a natural maturation, or is there a subtle loss of the original self, a part of its consciousness subsumed by the demands of its new form? The adorable Eevee, with its myriad evolutions, presents an even more poignant example. Each evolutionary stone or environmental trigger irrevocably alters Eevee's destiny, transforming it into a completely different creature with distinct abilities and temperaments. While the trainer typically chooses the desired evolution, what if Eevee itself harbors an innate personality or preference that is overridden by the external stimulus? Does a Flareon ever wonder what it would have been like to be a Vaporeon, or does its consciousness simply adapt to its new form, forgetting its potential paths? This raises questions about free will and predetermination within the Pokemon world. Are Pokemon truly active participants in their evolution, or are they merely vessels for genetic programming and environmental forces, their identities shaped by external factors beyond their conscious control? The concept of evolution, usually celebrated as a marvel of nature, can thus transform into a quiet tragedy of lost potentials and forced identities, a silent testament to the relentless impersonal march of natural selection. The Porygon line offers another unsettling perspective on artificial evolution and consciousness. Porygon, a Pokemon made entirely of programming code, evolves into Porygon and then Porygon Z through technological upgrades. This isn't biological evolution in the traditional sense, but a deliberate, man made enhancement. What does it mean for a consciousness to be entirely digital, to be upgradable and modifiable by human hands? Is Porygon's consciousness a true sentience, or merely an extremely sophisticated algorithm mimicking thought and emotion? The Pokedex entries for Porygon Z often mention its erratic behavior and unstable programming, suggesting that pushing the boundaries of artificial intelligence can lead to unforeseen and potentially frightening consequences for the artificial consciousness itself. It's almost as if its digital mind struggles to reconcile its upgraded capabilities with its original, more stable programming, leading to a kind of digital psychosis. This line subtly hints at the ethical dilemmas surrounding artificial intelligence and the creation of sentient digital life, suggesting that such creations might be burdened by their very artificiality, forever striving for a true, organic consciousness they can never fully attain. The quiet hum of an old computer processing data can evoke a similar sense of unseen, intricate activity, a complex world unfolding within circuits, much like the inner workings of a Porygon's mind. And then there are the ghost type Pokemon, whose very existence challenges our understanding of life, death, and the persistence of consciousness. Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar, with their playful yet sinister demeanor, are often depicted as mischievous spirits, but the deeper lore suggests more somber origins. Some ghost Pokemon are said to be the spirits of deceased humans or Pokemon, unable to move on, forever bound to the physical world. This implies a lingering consciousness, a soul trapped between realms, perhaps haunted by past memories or unfulfilled desires. Imagine the existential burden of such an existence, an eternal awareness, forever separated from the warmth of life, yet unable to fully embrace the peace of true death. The Pokedex entries for certain ghost types, like Banette, which is said to be a discarded doll animated by intense resentment, paint a picture of profound emotional suffering and lingering bitterness. Its consciousness, born from abandonment, is forever shaped by that initial trauma, seeking out the child who discarded it. This isn't just a spooky tale, but a somber reflection on the lasting impact of human actions on other sentient beings, even those that defy conventional biological definitions. The very air around these thoughts feels cooler, a subtle chill, like passing through an ancient, forgotten graveyard where echoes of lives long past still whisper on the wind. The implications extend to the phenomenon of mega evolution. While presented as a bond of immense trust and power between trainer and Pokemon, some theories suggest a darker side. The sheer surge of energy during mega evolution is described as intensely painful for the Pokemon, a temporary but overwhelming transformation that pushes their bodies and minds to their absolute limits. Is the Pokemon truly in control during this state, or is its consciousness momentarily overwhelmed by primal power, a wild surge of energy that borders on agony? The Pokedex entry for Mega Gyarados, for instance, states that its destructive power is overwhelming, and it can smash everything around it to smithereens without even thinking. This implies a loss of conscious control, a temporary regression to a more instinctual, less rational state. The bond between trainer and Pokemon, usually a source of comfort and guidance, here becomes a conduit for immense, almost uncontrollable power that can strain the Pokemon's very being. It's a fleeting glimpse into a raw, untamed consciousness, a power that, while ultimately beneficial in battle, carries with it a potential for immense suffering and a temporary relinquishing of self. The gentle glow that accompanies such thoughts can be likened to the soft, pulsating light of a forgotten machine, humming with dormant power, its purpose both fascinating and slightly unnerving. Consider also the phenomenon of regional variance, where Pokemon adapt to different environments over generations. While a testament to evolution, it can also be seen as an ongoing struggle for survival, a constant battle against environmental stressors. An Alolan Vulpix adapted to ice, or a Galarian Meowth hardened by industrial landscapes, are not simply different versions of the same Pokemon. They are products of environmental pressures that force their ancestors to change or perish. What forgotten hardships, what generations of struggle led to these adaptations? The consciousness of these Pokemon carries the genetic memory of those struggles, a subtle imprint of past adversities that shapes their instincts and behaviors. Their forms are not just aesthetic variations, they are living records of historical environmental challenges, silently testifying to the relentless and often unforgiving nature of the world they inhabit. The quiet rustle of leaves in a gentle breeze, or the distant murmur of the sea, can evoke these subtle, continuous changes, these endless adaptations of life to its ever shifting surroundings. The very concept of the Pokedex, while a fascinating encyclopedic tool, can also be unsettling. It documents and categorizes every known Pokemon, often with observations that, when taken literally, paint a grim picture. Some entries describe Pokemon consuming others, or even being consumed themselves. The natural food chain, while a reality of life, is presented without romanticism, highlighting the inherent struggle for existence that underlies the vibrant world. A Drifloon tempting children away, a Kadabra said to be a boy who woke up with psychic powers. These entries hint at darker, more disturbing origins and behaviors that are simply presented as factual observations. The Pokédex, in its detached scientific tone, inadvertently reveals the brutal realities of a world where survival often comes at the expense of others, where the line between life and death is constantly being redrawn. It is a world that, despite its cheerful facade, is grounded in the same harsh realities that govern our own natural world, a continuous cycle of life, consumption, and transformation. The quiet turning of pages, the soft whisper of information being absorbed, mirrors the absorption of these darker details settling gently into the mind. Even the seemingly innocuous act of capturing a Pokemon in a Pokeball can be reinterpreted. While presented as a consensual partnership, the mechanics involve forcibly shrinking a sentient being into a tiny, confined space. What is the experience of a Pokemon inside a Pokeball? Is it a comfortable, personalized environment or a claustrophobic prison? While the lore suggests comfort, the very act of being compressed and stored, then released at the trainer's command, raises questions about autonomy and freedom. Is a captured Pokemon truly free, or is it merely a powerful tool, willingly or unwillingly, serving its trainer's ambitions? The bond between trainer and Pokemon is often described as unbreakable, but is it a bond of equals or one of master and servant, albeit a benevolent one? These subtle considerations begin to unravel the seemingly simple joy of discovery and capture, revealing a deeper layer of control and potential subjugation. The soft click of a latch, the gentle hum of internal mechanisms, can in this light become loaded with a different kind of meaning, a quiet assertion of ownership over another's existence. The legendary Pokemon, often revered as deities or forces of nature, also carry with them a profound weight of responsibility and isolation. Arceus, the supposed creator of the Pokemon world, bears the burden of its creation, a silent, eternal watch over its universe. Dialga and Palkia, controlling time and space, are forever bound to their cosmic duties, their consciousnesses intertwined with the very fabric of existence. While immense power might seem desirable, imagine the loneliness of being a singular, all-powerful entity, forever separated from the everyday struggles and joys of lesser beings. Their existence, while grand, could also be one of profound solitude, an eternal vigilance that precludes true companionship or shared experience. The very vastness of their power might isolate them, their understanding of the universe so profound that it separates them from the simpler, more tangible realities of the world they govern. The quiet immensity of the night sky, dotted with countless stars, can evoke this sense of cosmic isolation, a vast, silent awareness observing yet detached. These somber reflections, like the gentle falling of snowflakes, each unique and intricate, slowly build a landscape of deeper meaning within the Pokemon world. They don't diminish the joy or the adventure, but rather enrich it, adding layers of complexity and emotional resonance. The innocent charm of a Pikachu, the steadfast loyalty of a Growlithe, the majestic flight of a Dragonite, all these moments become more profound when viewed against the backdrop of these underlying currents of struggle, adaptation, and the persistent, often enigmatic, nature of consciousness itself. The vibrant colors and cheerful melodies of the Pokemon universe are but the surface of a much deeper, more intricate reality, one where every creature, every interaction, every evolutionary leap carries with it the nuanced weight of existence. And as these quiet considerations gently settle in the mind, like grains of sand sinking to the bottom of a serene lake, they invite a peaceful acceptance of the subtle darkness that often accompanies light, the quiet complexities that underpin apparent simplicity, guiding the mind towards a profound and restful sleep, where dreams may weave their own intricate tapestries of consciousness, unbound by the waking world's logic, a gentle drift into the realm where all theories, dark or otherwise, find their quietest repose. The gentle rhythm of breath, the slow fading of thought, all contribute to this tranquil journey, a soft descent into the peaceful depths of slumber, where the Pokemon world, in all its nuanced beauty and subtle darkness, continues to unfold in the mind's quiet theater. The concept of Pokemon battles, while central to the experience, also invites a certain contemplation regarding the nature of conflict and control. Imagine, if you will, the innate instincts of a wild Pokemon honed over generations for survival in a complex ecosystem. Suddenly, these instincts are redirected, harnessed, and refined under the guidance of a trainer. Is it truly a partnership, or is there an element of subjugation, a redirection of inherent will towards an external goal? Consider a powerful Garchomp, a creature of immense speed and predatory prowess in the wild. Its movements are swift, its attacks devastating. When commanded by a trainer, these natural abilities are undoubtedly magnified, focused with precision. But what of the Garchomp's own desires, its impulses? Does it genuinely choose to execute a dragon claw at the exact moment its trainer wills it? Or is there a subtle, unspoken pressure, a learned obedience that overrides its own primal urges? The relationship is often portrayed as one of deep trust and mutual respect, and certainly many trainers genuinely care for their Pokemon. Yet the underlying dynamic remains. One entity directs, the other executes. It's a delicate balance, one that perhaps hints at a deeper philosophical question about free will and the nature of conscious decision making, even within the seemingly straightforward context of a friendly battle. Then there's the phenomenon of evolution, a cornerstone of the Pokemon world, yet one that can be viewed through a lens of profound, perhaps unsettling transformation. It's not merely a growth spurt or a change in appearance. It's a fundamental alteration of form, ability, and often even temperament. Imagine the suddenness of it, the biological upheaval. A cute, unassuming Eevee, with its gentle demeanor, can suddenly morph into a fiery Flareon, a water dwelling Vaporeon, or an electric Jolteon. This isn't a gradual metamorphosis like a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's often depicted as an instantaneous, bright flash of light. What does that feel like for the Pokemon undergoing such a dramatic shift? Is it exhilarating, a liberation of untapped power, or is there a moment of disorientation, a loss of its former self? The very essence of its being is rewritten. Consider the often dramatic changes in personality that accompany some evolutions. A shy, timid Psyduck might evolve into a powerful, confident Golduck. Is the original Psyduck still there, or has its consciousness been fundamentally altered by the evolutionary process? It's a form of perpetual rebirth, a constant shedding of the old for the new, and while it grants incredible power and adaptability, it also suggests a certain impermanence of self, a fluid identity that is constantly in flux. This perpetual change, while captivating, also carries a subtle undertone of existential questioning. Who are we, if we can so radically transform? The concept of legendary Pokemon, those rare and often solitary beings, also offers a rich tapestry for contemplation. These creatures are not merely powerful, they are often depicted as integral to the very balance of the world, guardians of cosmic forces or elemental energies. Take, for instance, Kyogre and Groudon, colossal beings whose ceaseless conflict once threatened to tear the world asunder. Their existence is one of immense responsibility, a constant vigil to maintain order. Imagine the weight of such a burden, to be perpetually locked in a cosmic dance of creation and destruction, with the fate of an entire planet resting upon your inherent nature. Their power is so immense, so fundamental, that their very presence shapes the landscape and climate. Yet this grand existence also implies a profound isolation. They're unique, unmatched, and therefore inherently alone in their power and purpose. Their interactions with lesser beings are often fleeting, their understanding of the mundane realities of life perhaps limited by their grander perspectives. The loneliness of being truly singular, of having no peer to share the weight of existence, is a quiet, profound sadness that underpins their majestic presence. They are like ancient, solitary mountains, standing guard over millennia, witnessing the ebb and flow of life, yet remaining eternally apart. Furthermore, the very act of capturing a Pokemon, though central to the game, can be seen as a profound alteration of its natural state. A Pokeball, that iconic device, is capable of shrinking a creature of any size into a compact sphere, storing it, and then releasing it at will. While convenient for trainers, what happens within that sphere? Is it a comfortable, expansive space, or a form of stasis, a suspension of its natural life? The lore suggests that Pokemon are content within their balls, but the implications are still thought provoking. Imagine being able to reduce any living creature to a pocket sized container, to be called forth only when needed. It's a technological marvel, certainly, but it also represents a profound exercise of control over another life form. The wildness, the untamed spirit of a Pokemon is essentially encapsulated, contained, and then re released under controlled circumstances. This act, so ingrained in the Pokemon experience, subtly reinforces a theme of human dominance over nature, a sophisticated domestication that reshapes the very essence of wild existence into a manageable, subservient form. The quiet hum of a Pokeball, a seemingly innocuous sound, thus carries with it a deeper resonance, a testament to the power of technology to reshape the natural world. Consider also the phenomenon of regional variance, a relatively newer concept, but one that adds another layer of intriguing complexity to the Pokemon world. The idea that a Pokemon, through long periods of isolation in a different environment, can fundamentally alter its appearance, type, and even its biological makeup. Take the example of an Alolan Vulpix transforming from a fire type fox to an ice type, its fur turning white, its habitat shifting from volcanic regions to snowy peaks. This isn't evolution in a traditional sense, but a deep seated adaptation, a genetic rewriting influenced by external pressures. While demonstrating the incredible adaptability of life, it also raises questions about the fluidity of identity and the profound impact of environment. If a Pokemon can so drastically change its fundamental type and appearance simply by existing in a different region for long enough, what does that say about the stability of its species, its core identity? It suggests a constant state of flux, a perpetual negotiation with the environment, where even the most ingrained traits can be reshaped over time. The concept offers a quiet meditation on the impermanence of form and the relentless subtle pressures of the natural world, shaping and reshaping life in ways we might not initially perceive. The existence of powerful organizations like Team Rocket, Team Plasma, or Team Galactic, with their grand, often world altering ambitions, also casts a long, fascinating shadow upon the Pokemon world. These groups are not merely criminals, they are often driven by deeply philosophical, albeit twisted ideologies. Giovanni, with his desire for power and control over rare Pokemon, represents a fundamental human yearning for dominance. Cyrus of Team Galactic, on the other hand, sought to create a new universe devoid of emotion, a cold, calculated pursuit of ultimate order. N of Team Plasma believed in the liberation of Pokemon from human trainers, a radical reevaluation of the human-Pokemon bond. These antagonists, while typically overcome by the protagonist, represent the darker facets of human nature: greed, control, a desire to reshape reality to one's own vision, no matter the cost. Their ambitions, though extreme, reflect anxieties and desires that exist within us all, magnified to a terrifying scale. They serve as a constant reminder that even in a vibrant, often cheerful world, there are profound struggles over ideals, over power, and over the very definition of what it means to coexist. The quiet whispers of their motivations, though often villainous, offer a somber reflection on the complex ethical dilemmas inherent in any advanced society. Then there is the intriguing presence of ghost-type Pokemon, creatures that defy conventional biological understanding. They are often depicted as spirits of the deceased or beings from another dimension, existing on the very edge of the material world. Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar, these playful yet eerie Pokemon blur the lines between life and death, physical and ethereal. Their very existence suggests a spiritual dimension to the Pokemon world, a realm beyond the tangible where consciousness can persist even after the cessation of physical life. This raises profound questions about mortality, the afterlife, and the nature of the soul within this universe. Are they truly the lingering spirits of former living beings, Or are they entirely unique entities formed from concentrated spiritual energy? Their interactions with the living world are often mischievous, sometimes malevolent, but always imbued with a sense of the uncanny, a reminder that not everything can be explained by conventional science. The chill that accompanies a ghost type's presence, the quiet rustling of leaves in an apparently still forest, or the inexplicable flicker of a distant light, all contribute to a subtle yet persistent sense of the supernatural, gently reminding us that the world is far more mysterious and expansive than it often appears on the surface. The very concept of a Pokémon professor, an esteemed scientist dedicated to researching these creatures, also presents an interesting tension. While their work is undoubtedly vital for understanding the world, it also represents a scientific attempt to categorize, analyze, and ultimately to understand and potentially control the mysteries of life. Professor Oak, Professor Elm, Professor Birch, they are all driven by a thirst for knowledge, a desire to unravel the biological and ecological complexities of Pokemon. Yet in the act of scientific inquiry, there is always a certain detachment, a reduction of living beings to data points, to classifications. While their intentions are benevolent, their work inadvertently contributes to the system of capture and training by providing the tools and knowledge necessary for it. It's a subtle irony. The very people who seek to understand and protect Pokemon are also instrumental in integrating them into human society in ways that fundamentally alter their natural existence. Their quiet studies, conducted in laboratories filled with beakers and complex machinery, represent the human drive to rationalize and organize the wild, untamed aspects of the world, a gentle imposition of order upon chaos, but one that perhaps inadvertently diminishes some of the inherent mystery and autonomy of the creatures they study. Even the seemingly innocuous act of healing Pokemon at a Pokemon Center, a ubiquitous and comforting presence in every town, could be viewed with a slightly different perspective. The Nurse Joy, with her kind smile and ever present Chansey, uses advanced medical technology to restore Pokemon to full health instantly. While this is undeniably beneficial, it also raises questions about their natural healing processes, their resilience in the wild. Does this readily available magical healing diminish their inherent ability to recover, to adapt to injuries, to develop natural immunities? It suggests a world where natural vulnerabilities are swiftly remedied by technological intervention, a gentle shielding from the harsher realities of biological existence. The bright, sterile environment of a Pokemon Center, while a beacon of hope, also subtly implies a departure from the rugged, self sufficient nature of wildlife, a constant reliance on external aid. The quiet hum of the healing machine, while comforting, also represents a subtle technological barrier between Pokemon and the raw, unvarnished struggles of natural survival, offering a tranquil, yet perhaps unexamined layer of artificial protection. The vastness of the Pokemon world itself, a planet replete with diverse biomes, ancient ruins, and mysterious phenomena, also serves as a canvas for these deeper thoughts. From the icy peaks of the Crown Tundra to the scorching sands of the desert, each location holds its own secrets, its own history, its own unique set of challenges and wonders. The silent, crumbling stones of ancient temples hint at forgotten civilizations, at powerful beings whose influence has long since faded from active memory leaving behind only echoes. The deep, dark caves, echoing with the drip of water and the distant cries of unseen creatures, speak of the primordial, of life evolving in the absence of light, adapting to extreme conditions. These environments are not merely backdrops, they are active participants in the lore, shaping the very nature of the Pokémon that inhabit them and influencing the narratives that unfold. They represent the enduring power of nature, a force that predates and will likely outlast any human endeavor, existing in a state of quiet, majestic indifference. The gentle whisper of the wind through ancient trees, the soft lapping of waves against a forgotten shore, all contribute to this profound sense of time and timelessness, of forces far greater than any individual, slowly shaping the world with an unhurried, relentless pace. These vast, silent landscapes invite contemplation of our own small place within such an immense and ancient tapestry, guiding the mind towards a deeper, more reflective state as thoughts gently drift and settle like dust motes in a beam of moonlight towards the peaceful and profound quietude of sleep. The pervasive presence of Pokemon within every facet of this world also merits a soft, prolonged consideration. They are not merely creatures to be captured and battled, they are integral to the very fabric of society, performing roles that range from essential labor to spiritual guidance. Consider the Machop evolutionary line, their immense strength harnessed for construction, shaping cities and infrastructure with their bare, powerful hands. This symbiotic relationship, while seemingly beneficial, carries a subtle undercurrent of something more profound. Are these Pokemon truly willing participants, or has their existence been subtly shaped, perhaps even engineered to serve these human needs? The line between cooperation and utilization can at times become wonderfully, softly blurred, especially when one species holds such technological and organizational dominance. The quiet, rhythmic clang of a Machoke laying bricks, or the steady, powerful pull of a Mamoswine plowing fields, evokes a sense of ancient symbiosis, yet also a gentle, lingering question about agency and choice. Then there are Pokemon like the various electric types, their bodies generating power that can be channeled to illuminate homes and cities. Pikachu, with its iconic electric cheeks, is often depicted as a beloved companion, yet its biological function is a source of immense power. Is this an inherent, natural ability that humans have simply learned to tap into, or has selective breeding over generations subtly enhanced these traits for human benefit? The gentle hum of electricity, a constant presence in many Pokemon settlements, is a reminder of this quiet, integrated utility. It suggests a world where natural resources are not merely extracted from the earth, but are, in a very real sense, alive, sentient, and capable of responding to their environment and to human interaction. This intimate connection, while fostering a deep bond, also implies a dependency, a reliance on these living energy sources that weaves itself into the very infrastructure of their civilization. The concept of legendary and mythical Pokemon further deepens these contemplative currents. These beings are often depicted as godlike, possessing powers that shape reality, control natural phenomena, and even influence the very fabric of time and space. Arceus, said to have created the Pokemon world itself, stands as the ultimate example. Yet despite their immense power, these legendary Pokemon are not entirely detached from the world. They are often sought out, sometimes even captured by human trainers. This paradox, the all powerful existing alongside the vulnerable, the cosmic contained within a Pokeball, presents a fascinating, gentle contradiction. It suggests that even the most profound, the most ancient, the most intrinsically powerful forces can, in some way, be interacted with, perhaps even influenced, by the seemingly smaller world of humanity and its Pokemon companions. The quiet reverence surrounding these legends, the hushed tales of their appearances, their interventions, speaks to a deep seated spiritual connection, a belief in forces beyond immediate comprehension, yet undeniably present. The soft glow of a distant aurora, rumored to be the manifestation of a legendary Pokemon, invites a sense of wonder and a gentle humbling before the vastness of existence. Consider the implications of Pokemon being able to communicate telepathically or possess psychic abilities. Alakazam, with its impossibly high IQ, or Mewtwo, a creature capable of profound thought and existential questioning, challenge the very notion of what constitutes intelligence and consciousness. If these abilities are common, even if only among certain species, what does that say about the unspoken thoughts and feelings of all Pokemon? Do they silently observe, understand, and perhaps even judge the actions of humans and other Pokemon, their inner worlds far richer and more complex than their outward appearances suggest? The gentle, sustained gaze of a psychic Pokemon, seemingly looking into the depths of one's own being, can be both comforting and subtly unsettling, a quiet reminder of unseen depths. It poses the question of whether empathy and understanding are truly reciprocal, or if there is a vast but silent conversation happening just beneath the surface of conscious perception, a gentle hum of interconnected thought. The very act of battling, too, when viewed through a calming, reflective lens, takes on a different hue. While presented as a sport, a test of skill and strategy, it is also a deliberate act of pitting two living beings against each other, often to the point of exhaustion or unconsciousness. The Pokemon Center provides the gentle balm of immediate recovery, but what of the emotional and psychological toll? Do Pokemon willingly endure these battles for their trainers, for the thrill of competition, or is there an underlying expectation, a gentle, unspoken pressure? The bright flashes of an electric attack, the rustling leaves of a grass move, the soft thud of impact all contribute to a spectacle that beneath its surface involves a nuanced negotiation of will and effort. The deep, contented sigh of a Pokemon after a hard fought victory, or the quiet, gentle whimper after a defeat, speaks volumes about their inner experience, a journey through challenge and perseverance. Furthermore, the existence of ghost type Pokemon introduces a fascinating, gentle exploration of life, death, and the ethereal. Banette, a puppet brought to life by a child's discarded toy, or Phantump, said to be the spirits of children lost in the forest, weave tales that are both melancholic and deeply moving. Thus, Pokemon embody the lingering emotions of the departed, the echoes of past lives. Their presence suggests a world where the veil between life and what lies beyond is thinner, more permeable than often perceived. The soft, wispy movements of a ghastly or the gentle, melancholic glow of a Litwick serve as a quiet reminder of mortality, but also of the persistence of spirit, of memory, and of connection beyond the physical realm. It proposes a gentle continuum where existence flows from one state to another, not always ending, but transforming, quietly, ceaselessly. The regional variance and convergent evolution observed in Pokémon also provide a rich tapestry for subtle contemplation. A familiar Pokémon, when found in a different region, might exhibit completely altered typing, appearance, and abilities due to adaptation to a new environment. This gentle morphing, this soft evolution over time, speaks to the immense adaptability of life, the subtle ways in which organisms respond to the pressures and opportunities of their surroundings. An Alalan Vulpix, with its icy fur and gentle, serene demeanor, is a testament to the transformative power of climate, evolving from its fiery Kanto counterpart. This slow, deliberate dance of adaptation, where even the most fundamental aspects of a species can be reshaped by the environment, parallels the unhurried processes of nature itself, a constant, gentle reshaping and refining. It's a quiet testament to the enduring power of natural selection, sculpted over countless generations, hinting at the vast, unrecorded history of each species. The paradox of infinite Pokemon within a finite world, too, invites a gentle, lingering thought. While new species are constantly being discovered in each generation of games, the lore suggests a world with a vast, yet ultimately bounded ecosystem. How do these countless species coexist, maintain ecological balance, and find their niches without overwhelming the resources of their shared planet? This question, while never explicitly addressed, creates a subtle sense of wonder about the intricate, gentle dance of life that must be occurring constantly, unseen, beneath the surface of everyday events. The rustle of leaves, the distant cry of a bird, the soft murmur of a stream, each sound is a tiny thread in this immense, interconnected web of life, a testament to the elegant, self regulating complexity of the natural world, gently drifting towards a quiet equilibrium. Even the simple act of teaching Pokemon moves through TMs or HMs, technology based methods, hints at a deeper interaction between natural ability and human ingenuity. While some moves are clearly innate, others are learned through external means, downloaded or imprinted into their minds. This gentle blend of the organic and the technological suggests a world where evolution is not solely a biological process, but can also be influenced, nudged, and even accelerated by human intervention. The quiet whir of a TM being used, the soft glow of a Pokemon absorbing new knowledge, represents a constant, gentle push at the boundaries of natural development, a subtle integration of artificial learning into the very essence of a living being's capabilities. It's a world where the lines between nature and nurture are wonderfully, so softly blurred, where potential is unlocked through both inherent talent and gentle, guided instruction. The very concept of the Pokemon professor, a figure dedicated to studying and understanding these creatures, also adds a quiet layer of intellectual curiosity to the world. Their endless research, their meticulous observations, their gentle pursuit of knowledge about Pokemon behavior, biology, and ecology underpins much of the known lore. The dusty shelves of a professor's lab, filled with ancient texts and scientific instruments, evoke a sense of timeless dedication to uncovering the world's secrets, one gentle discovery at a time. This quiet, persistent quest for understanding, for categorizing and explaining the myriad wonders of the Pokemon world, mirrors our own human drive to comprehend the universe around us, a gentle, unending journey of learning and appreciation. The soft rustle of pages being turned, the quiet clicking of a keyboard as data is entered all contribute to the serene pursuit of knowledge, a tranquil dedication to unraveling the mysteries that surround us. And finally, the gentle, recurring motif of childhood and coming of age journeys that permeates the Pokemon narrative itself. Young trainers embarking on their first adventure, leaving home to explore the world, to bond with their Pokemon, and to discover themselves. This archetypal journey, while often filled with excitement and challenge, also carries a profound, gentle message about growth, resilience, and the formation of identity. The quiet footsteps of a young trainer on a new route, the soft murmur of a conversation with their first Pokemon, the gentle warmth of a campfire under the stars, these are all moments that speak to the universal experience of growing up, of forming bonds, and of navigating the vast, often bewildering, but ultimately beautiful world. It's a gentle reflection of our own journeys, our own quests for meaning and connection, played out against a backdrop of wonder and possibility, guiding the mind towards a state of peaceful contemplation as the world outside softly fades and the quiet dreams of sleep gently, lovingly begin to unfurl. The subtle interplay between the natural world and human influence is a constant, almost hypnotic undercurrent in the Pokemon universe. Consider the phenomenon of mega evolution, for instance. It is not merely a transformation, it is a profound, albeit temporary, alteration of a Pokemon's very being, triggered by the deep bond shared with a trainer and the resonant energy of a megastone. This process, while awe inspiring in its manifestation, hints at a deeper, almost mystical energy flowing through the world, a latent potential that can be awakened through an intense emotional connection. The idea that a Pokemon's form can be so dramatically yet momentarily changed, not through evolution in the biological sense, but through a shared will and an ancient artifact, speaks to a universe where the boundaries of what is possible are far more fluid and permeable than we might initially perceive. It suggests that the world itself is alive with hidden energies, waiting to be tapped, to be understood, to be gently coaxed into revealing new facets of existence. The quiet hum of a megastone, the subtle shimmer of light as a Pokemon undergoes this transfiguration, represents a delicate dance between ancient power and contemporary understanding, a moment where the past and present converge in a breathtaking display of awakened potential. Then there is the concept of regional variance, a gentle whisper of adaptation and divergence within species. The Alolan Vulpix, its fur a pristine white, adapted to snowy peaks, or the Galarian Meowth, a rugged, steel-type creature forged in the harsh industrial landscapes. These are not mere cosmetic changes. They are living testaments to the subtle, persistent pressures of environment, shaping life in myriad, often surprising ways. Each variant tells a quiet story of survival, of evolution, of how a species subtly redefines itself to thrive in a new habitat. It's a gentle reminder that life is never static, always flowing, always adjusting, like a river carving new paths through the landscape. The subtle differences in their cries, the nuances in their behavior, all paint a picture of a world rich with biodiversity, where every corner holds a unique tale of adaptation and resilience. These regional variations serve as a gentle, continuous illustration of natural selection at play, demonstrating how even within a single species, the quiet forces of nature can sculpt diverse forms and temperaments, each perfectly suited to its particular environmental niche. Consider, too, the quiet mystery of the unknown. This enigmatic glyph like Pokémon, said to reside in another dimension or perhaps a different plane of existence, represent a profound connection to language, to meaning, and perhaps to the very fabric of reality itself. Their ability to subtly influence the environment around them, to manifest thoughts and emotions into tangible forms, speaks to a universe where consciousness and matter are far more intertwined than our own understanding often allows. The gentle, almost imperceptible hum that accompanies their presence, the way they seem to coalesce from the very air, suggests a deeply spiritual or perhaps even philosophical dimension to the Pokemon world. They are a quiet puzzle, a living alphabet, hinting at hidden messages and ancient truths waiting to be deciphered. Their existence poses a profound question. Are they merely creatures, or are they manifestations of a deeper universal consciousness, gently guiding the flow of information and expression within their reality? The soft, almost ethereal feeling of being near them evokes a sense of profound wonder, a quiet contemplation of the very nature of communication and existence. And what of the deeper, almost melancholic undercurrents that sometimes surface within the lore, particularly concerning legendary Pokemon? The tales of Arceus, the alpha Pokemon, said to have shaped the very universe with its 1,000 arms, are not just stories of immense power. They carry within them the quiet burden of creation, the immense responsibility of bringing forth all that exists. The solitude of such a being, the quiet contemplation of an entity that predates time itself, is a profound and moving concept. Similarly, the stories of Giratina, banished to the distortion world for its destructive tendencies, evoke a sense of cosmic regret, of a necessary separation to maintain balance. The quiet, almost mournful echoes of its banishment, the constant tension between order and chaos, are palpable within the lore. These legendary Pokemon are not just powerful beings, they are embodiments of fundamental forces, carrying with them the quiet weight of their existence, their unique roles in the grand tapestry of the universe. Their existence prompts a gentle contemplation of cosmic balance, of the delicate interplay between creation and destruction, order and chaos, and the quiet, enduring forces that shape all that is. The vastness of their power is often matched by the quiet solitude of their profound existence, a lonely eminence in the grand scheme of things. The gentle cycle of life and death, though rarely explicitly depicted in its rawest form, is implicitly present within the Pokemon world. Consider the ghost-type Pokemon, often said to be the spirits of the deceased, or beings intrinsically linked to the ethereal plane. Pokemon like Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar, with their mischievous yet sometimes eerie presence, represent a subtle acknowledgement of what lies beyond. The quiet whispers of forgotten memories, the lingering echoes of past lives, are woven into their very essence. Even the benevolent Phantump, said to be the spirits of children lost in the forest, evokes a gentle melancholy, a quiet recognition of loss and transformation. These Pokemon serve as a soft, almost poetic reminder that life is a continuous journey, and that even in passing, there is a lingering presence, a transformation into something new, something connected to the unseen energies of the world. Their ethereal forms, their often playful yet sometimes mournful cries, speak to a realm beyond our immediate grasp, a quiet dimension coexisting with the vibrant, tangible world we perceive. The soft rustle of leaves in an ancient forest, the faint chill in the air near a forgotten graveyard, those subtle sensations hint at the thin veil between worlds. And then the quiet implications of the various technologies present in the Pokemon world. The Pokeball itself, a marvel of miniaturization and energy containment, capable of gently converting a living being into a stream of data or energy and back again. Onto this pervasive technology, so commonplace as to be almost invisible, hints at an advanced understanding of life force and matter manipulation that borders on the fantastical. The gentle click as a Pokemon is recalled, the soft hum of the ball itself, are everyday sounds that belie an extraordinary scientific achievement. What are the ethical implications of such a device, gently yet firmly altering the state of a living creature for transportation or storage? While never depicted as cruel, the very ability to do so suggests a profound dominion over biological forms, a quiet statement about humanity's technological prowess and its gentle, almost benign control over the natural world. This technology, seemingly simple, quietly underpins the entire trainer Pokemon dynamic, enabling a form of coexistence and partnership that would otherwise be impossible. The pervasive presence of ancient ruins and forgotten civilizations across various regions also speaks to a quiet, cyclical history, a rise and fall of empires and cultures. The crumbling temples, the weathered statues, the cryptic inscriptions, they all whisper tales of a time long past, of beliefs and practices that shaped the world in forgotten ways. The gentle touch of time on these structures, the way nature slowly reclaims them, is a poignant reminder of impermanence and the relentless march of geological and historical time. These ruins are not just settings for adventure, they are quiet monuments to the fleeting nature of even the grandest human endeavors, a gentle echo of past glories and forgotten wisdom. They invite quiet contemplation of history, of the layers of time that have accumulated on the land, and the silent stories they still hold. The soft crumbling of stone, the gentle erosion by wind and rain, all contribute to this melancholic yet peaceful narrative of time's passage. Even the simple act of training itself, the gentle repetition of battles, the slow accumulation of experience points, and the eventual evolution of a Pokemon mirrors a deep philosophical journey. It is a process of growth, of overcoming challenges, of nurturing potential. The quiet perseverance of both trainer and Pokemon, the gentle push and pull of strategic choices, the moments of triumph and occasional defeat, these are all microcosms of life's broader struggles and victories. The soft glow of an evolving Pokemon, the slow unraveling of its new form, is a visual metaphor for personal transformation, a quiet celebration of reaching new heights and embracing change. It's a gentle, continuous narrative of self improvement, of learning from experience, and of the profound satisfaction that comes from dedicated effort and shared accomplishment. The rhythmic sounds of training, the soft thud of attacks, the gentle cheer of encouragement, all blend into a symphony of growth and progress. And as the quiet understanding of the Pokemon world deepens, as these various threads of lore, of science, of mysticism, and of human experience gently intertwine, a profound sense of interconnectedness emerges. Every Pokemon, every trainer, every hidden ruin, every technological marvel, every natural phenomenon, all are part of a vast, intricate tapestry. The gentle hum of this interconnectedness, the subtle ways in which everything influences everything else, creates a sense of harmony even amidst the occasional chaos. It's a world that invites quiet contemplation, gentle exploration, and a deep appreciation for the myriad forms of life and the intricate forces that shape their existence. The soft sway of tall grass, the gentle lapping of waves on a distant shore, the quiet rustle of wings in the sky. These are the sounds of a world in gentle, perpetual motion, a world that softly cradles the dreams and thoughts of all who reside within it. The profound sense of peace that emanates from this comprehensive view of the Pokemon universe is truly something to behold, a quiet comfort that settles over the mind, guiding it towards a state of tranquil slumber. The gentle weight of these narratives, these countless details, slowly coalesces into a soothing presence, a quiet lullaby for the waking mind, inviting it to drift into the comforting embrace of sleep. The subtle interplay of light and shadow across mountainous regions, the slow crawl of glaciers carving valleys over millennia, the gentle murmur of ancient rivers etching their paths through stone. These are not merely geological processes, but silent witnesses to the ceaseless march of time within the Pokemon world. Each fossil discovered, each fragment of ancient pottery unearthed from forgotten ruins, whispers tales of civilizations long past, of Pokemon that roamed these lands before human memory could even begin to form. The Helix fossil, for instance, a relic of the prehistoric Omanite, carries with it the echoes of an oceanic world vastly different from our own, a world teeming with life now only glimpsed through these petrified remains. It speaks of deep sea currents, of ancient predators, and of environmental shifts that led to the eventual disappearance of countless species, only for a select few to be resurrected through modern scientific marvels. The dome fossil, a testament to the ancient Kabuto, paints a similar picture of deep evolutionary history, reminding us that the forms we see today are but fleeting snapshots in an immense timeline of adaptation and change. These fossils are not just scientific curiosities, they are profound philosophical markers, prompting quiet reflection on the ephemeral nature of all existence. Even the concept of Pokemon extinction, as seen with species like Aerodactyl, which only persist through fossil resurrection, carries a somber weight, a gentle reminder of the delicate balance of ecosystems and the profound impact of environmental changes, both natural and perhaps human induced. The occasional appearance of a living fossil Pokemon, like Relicanth, swimming in the deep, undisturbed trenches of the ocean, serves as a poignant link to these ancient eras, a living bridge across millions of years, a quiet whisper from a time long past, gently reminding us of the enduring power of survival and adaptation. Consider also the phenomenon of regional variance, a soft testament to the immense power of environment in shaping life. An Alolan Vulpix, adapted to snowy peaks, its fur turned white as the driven snow, lives a life entirely different from its Kantoan counterpart. This gentle divergence, this subtle branching of evolutionary paths, speaks volumes about the creative force of nature, the way in which varied pressures can sculpt and refine a species over countless generations. The subtle differences in their cries, their behaviors, their elemental affinities, all are woven into the fabric of their respective environments, a quiet symphony of adaptation played out across diverse landscapes. It's a beautiful, intricate dance between organism and habitat, a continuous process of becoming, of finding equilibrium in a world of constant flux. The very concept of a legendary Pokémon, shrouded in myth and often tied to the very creation or sustenance of the world, offers another layer of contemplative depth. Arceus, the alpha Pokémon, said to have shaped the universe with its 1,000 arms, sits at the pinnacle of this mythological hierarchy. The gentle whispers of its existence, the subtle implications of its cosmic power, invite a deep meditation on creation itself, on the origins of matter, energy, and life. The plates it holds, each representing a different type, are not merely game mechanics, but symbolic representations of the fundamental building blocks of existence. Its slumber, its quiet overseeing of the universe, suggests a cosmic patience, a timeless presence that simply is beyond human comprehension or intervention. Then there are creatures like Dialga and Palkia, masters of time and space respectively, whose very presence dictates the flow and structure of reality. The gentle ticking of time, the vast expanse of space, these are not abstract concepts in the Pokemon world, but tangible forces embodied by majestic beings. To merely exist in a world where time can be manipulated, where space can be distorted, offers a profound sense of awe and a quiet unsettling of conventional understanding. The slow, rhythmic pulse of time, the gentle expansion of the universe, these are the effects of their quiet cosmic dance. And Giratina, the rogue legendary, banished to the distortion world, represents the antithesis of order, a gentle reminder of chaos, antimatter, and the perhaps necessary imbalance that prevents stagnation. Its existence in a world where gravity is askew, where dimensions fold upon themselves, is a quiet exploration of alternative realities, of what lies beyond the conventional perception. The lore surrounding these beings, often passed down through ancient texts and oral traditions, is not merely fantastical storytelling. It is a reflection of humanity's enduring quest to understand the universe, to grapple with immense, incomprehensible forces, and to find meaning in the grand tapestry of existence. The gentle reverence shown to these Pokemon, the quiet awe they inspire, speaks to a fundamental human need to connect with something larger than oneself, to find solace in the vastness of the unknown. Even the humble Pokeball, a seemingly simple device, carries layers of quiet philosophical implication. How does it work? What is the nature of the space within? Is it a pocket dimension, a state of suspended animation, or something else entirely? The gentle click as a Pokemon is captured, the almost magical transformation, suggests a technology that borders on the mystical, a quiet blurring of the lines between science and magic. The comfort a Pokemon finds within, the peaceful slumber it often experiences, hints at a symbiotic relationship, a gentle trust between trainer and captured creature. It is a symbol of control, yes, but also of care, of a shared journey, a quiet commitment. Consider the various forms of energy that permeate the Pokemon world. The subtle, almost imperceptible flow of elemental energy, the quiet hum of electricity, the gentle warmth of fire, the cool touch of water. These are not just visual effects, but fundamental forces that shape battles and environments alike. The psychic energy that allows a Pokemon to read minds or move objects with a thought, the spiritual energy that binds ghost-type Pokemon to the living world. These are gentle whispers of unseen dimensions, of powers beyond our ordinary senses. The life force that emanates from grass type Pokémon, the gentle healing energy they bestow, speaks to a deep connection with nature and its regenerative cycles. It is a world alive with unseen energies, a quiet, vibrant tapestry of forces constantly interacting and influencing one another. The concept of mega evolution, a temporary burst of power and a shift in form, speaks to the hidden potential within every Pokemon, the dormant power waiting to be awakened through a deep bond with a trainer. The gentle glow that precedes a mega evolution, the almost ethereal transformation, is a visual metaphor for unlocking one's full capabilities, of transcending perceived limits. It's a quiet celebration of shared growth, a testament to the profound connection between two beings striving for greatness together. This temporary transcendence, this brief glimpse into an amplified state, offers a quiet contemplation on the nature of potential itself and the catalysts that allow it to blossom. Deeper still lies the mystery of the Ultra Beasts, creatures from alternate dimensions, appearing suddenly and often violently through ultra wormholes. Their alien forms, their strange abilities, their sheer otherworldliness introduce a subtle sense of cosmic horror, a quiet unsettling of the familiar. They are a gentle reminder that the known universe is but a small fraction of what truly exists, that there are countless realities beyond our own, each with its own strange laws and inhabitants. The Ultra Beasts are not inherently evil, but their very presence disrupts the delicate balance of the Pokemon world, a quiet intrusion from the vast, unknowable void. Their existence invites a quiet pondering on the vastness of the multiverse, the infinite possibilities that lie beyond the veil of our own reality, a gentle chill of the unknown. The very landscape of the Pokemon world is imbued with a quiet history. The ancient pathways carved by generations of Pokemon and trainers, the weathered stones of forgotten temples, the gentle whisper of wind through the ruins of civilizations long past, each element tells a story. The vast oceans, with their hidden trenches and unexplored depths, hold secrets of ancient Pokemon and undiscovered ecosystems, a quiet invitation to explore the unknown. The towering mountains, their peaks perpetually shrouded in clouds, are silent sentinels watching over the land with timeless patience. The dense forests, teeming with life, where every rustle of leaves could be a hidden Pokemon, are places of quiet mystery and gentle discovery. Even the urban environments, with their bustling markets and towering skyscrapers, are built upon layers of history, the quiet echoes of past lives resonating beneath the modern veneer. The quiet, almost imperceptible cycle of day and night, the gentle shift of seasons. These are not merely aesthetic changes, but fundamental rhythms that govern the lives of Pokemon and humans alike. Certain Pokemon only emerge at night, their forms adapted to the moonlit world, while others bask in the gentle warmth of the sun. The changing seasons dictate migrations, breeding patterns, and the availability of resources, a gentle ebb and flow that underscores the interconnectedness of all life. It's a subtle reminder of the natural order, the quiet elegance of ecological balance, a continuous dance between light and shadow, warmth and cold, growth and dormancy. And then there's the gentle philosophy of Pokemon training itself. It's not merely about battling and winning, but about building a bond, fostering trust, and understanding the unique personality of each creature. The quiet moments of companionship, the shared meals, the gentle grooming, the silent understanding that passes between trainer and Pokemon, these are the true essence of the journey. It's a relationship built on mutual respect, a quiet partnership in the face of challenges. The gentle encouragement given during a tough battle, the quiet comfort offered after a defeat, these are the threads that weave the unbreakable bond. It's a profound lesson in empathy, in patience, and in the quiet joy of shared experience. The very concept of a Pokemon Center, a place of universal healing and replenishment, speaks to a deeply compassionate societal structure. Regardless of allegiance, everyone is welcome. Every Pokemon is cared for. The gentle whir of the healing machine, the soft glow of the recovery lights, the reassuring presence of Nurse Joy. These elements create a haven of peace and comfort, a quiet sanctuary from the rigors of the journey. It's a subtle reminder that even in a world of battles and competition, there is a fundamental undercurrent of care, of mutual support, a quiet understanding of the fragility of life and the importance of healing. The gentle process of evolution, the slow accumulation of experience, leading to a profound transformation, is a quiet metaphor for personal growth. It isn't always immediate or dramatic, but a gradual unfolding of potential, a quiet shedding of old forms to embrace new ones. The subtle changes in a Pokemon's moveset, its stat distribution, its very appearance, these are not just numerical increases, but reflections of an internal metamorphosis, a quiet journey of self discovery. It's a testament to the power of perseverance, of learning from every encounter, a gentle reminder that every challenge overcome contributes to a stronger, more capable self. The vast and intricate network of trade routes, both physical and digital, that connect trainers across regions and even across the globe, speaks to a quiet global community. The gentle exchange of Pokemon, the sharing of resources, the collaborative efforts to complete the Pokedex, these acts foster a sense of interconnectedness, a subtle breaking down of geographical barriers. It's a world where individuals are linked by a shared passion, a quiet testament to the unifying power of common goals. The soft hum of digital signals carrying Pokemon across vast distances is a modern echo of ancient trade winds, a gentle continuation of human connection. Even the quieter, less explored corners of the lore, like the mysteries surrounding Ditto and its amorphous nature, or the gentle sadness of Cubone, perpetually mourning its mother, add depth to this rich tapestry. Ditto's ability to transform into any Pokemon, its seemingly generic genetic code, raises quiet questions about identity, about the fundamental essence of a being. Cubone's poignant story, a constant reminder of loss and the enduring power of familial love, resonates with a quiet melancholy, a gentle exploration of grief and remembrance. These are not merely facts, but emotional anchors, inviting a deeper, more empathetic engagement with the world. The gentle murmur of the wind through the tall grass, the soft chirping of sleepy Pokemon settling down for the night, the distant lapping of waves against a silent shore. These are the ambient sounds of a world slowly drifting into slumber. Each detail, each piece of lore, each quiet mystery contributes to a profound sense of peace, a gentle weight of understanding that settles over the mind. The countless interweaving narratives, the subtle scientific principles, the grand mythological arcs, and the personal journeys of growth and connection all combine to create a deeply immersive and calming experience. It's a universe that, when contemplated deeply, offers not just adventure, but also a quiet solace, a gentle invitation to let go of the day's worries and drift into the comforting embrace of sleep. The soft glow of the moon, casting long shadows across familiar landscapes, highlights the quiet beauty of this intricate world, a world that continues its gentle, endless cycle even as the conscious mind begins its journey into dreams. The intricate dance between trainer and Pokémon, a silent language of understanding and trust, is a profound aspect of this world. It's a bond built not on dominance, but on mutual respect, on shared experiences and challenges overcome together. The quiet rustle of a Pokeball opening, the gentle emergence of a Pokemon ready for interaction, speaks volumes about this connection. Each battle, each training session, each moment of care deepens this unspoken pact, evolving it into a powerful, almost telepathic link. The subtle cues a trainer learns to recognize in their Pokemon, a slight shift in posture, a particular vocalization, a flicker in their eyes, are all part of this intimate communication. It's a testament to the idea that true strength lies not in isolation, but in collaboration, in the combined efforts of two distinct beings working in harmony towards a common goal. This quiet symbiosis extends beyond the battlefield, permeating everyday life, from the Pokemon who assist in household chores to those who provide comfort and companionship. The gentle purr of a Meowth curled on a lap, the soft nuzzle of a Growlithe seeking affection. These simple acts reinforce the profound emotional depth of these partnerships. And then there are the whispered legends of the ancient Pokemon, beings of immense power and mystery, whose very existence shaped the world as we know it. Arceus, the alpha Pokemon, said to have created the entire universe with its 1,000 arms, remains a figure of quiet awe and reverence. Its story, a foundational myth, speaks to the very origins of existence, a gentle reminder of the vastness and antiquity of time itself. The trio of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, guardians of time, space, and antimatter, respectively, maintain a delicate cosmic balance. Their silent vigilance of the unseen forces they command ensure the continued harmony of the universe. The mere contemplation of their power, their eternal duties, can induce a sense of quiet humility, a recognition of forces far beyond human comprehension. The subtle hum of temporal energy, the silent stretching of spatial dimensions, the ethereal presence of the distortion world, these are the quiet manifestations of their unending influence. These legendary narratives, far from being mere tales, serve as philosophical anchors, prompting contemplation on the nature of reality, the passage of time, and the delicate balance of existence. They are not boisterous gods demanding worship, but rather silent overseers, their actions felt more than seen, their presence a gentle, constant hum beneath the surface of the world. Even the concept of evolution, a cornerstone of the Pokemon world, carries a calm, profound significance. It's not just a change in form, but a journey of growth, of adaptation, of reaching a higher potential. The soft glow of an evolving Pokemon, the slow morphing of its shape, the subtle awakening of new abilities. It's a beautiful, natural process. Each evolution tells a story of perseverance, of accumulated experience, of a Pokemon becoming more fully itself. The gentle energy that courses through them during this transformation is a testament to the life force that permeates all creatures, a quiet affirmation of the continuous cycle of change and renewal. The differing evolutionary paths, influenced by various factors, friendship, environment, specific items, highlight the individuality of each Pokemon's journey, the gentle currents that guide their development. It's a metaphor for personal growth, for the quiet transformations we all undergo throughout our lives, becoming something new, yet still fundamentally ourselves, enriched by every experience. The gentle quietness of abandoned buildings, the silent echoes of past lives within ancient ruins, also contribute to the world's deep character. These decaying structures, slowly reclaimed by nature, tell stories of forgotten cultures, of civilizations that rose and fell, leaving behind only whispers of their existence. The silent crumbling of stone, the gentle sway of overgrown vines, the soft patter of nocturnal Pokémon moving through the shadows. These are the sounds of time's ceaseless march. Exploring these places is a meditative experience, a quiet communion with history, a gentle reminder of impermanence and the cyclical nature of all things. The faint scent of dust and damp earth, the cool air that lingers in shadowed corners, the way light filters through broken windows, these sensory details create an atmosphere of quiet introspection. They are places of gentle mystery where the past can be felt almost tangibly, a soft, lingering presence. Consider the gentle, almost imperceptible way that technology has woven itself into the fabric of this world. The Pokédex, a marvel of miniaturized computing, quietly documents every encountered Pokémon, its silent, efficient operation a testament to human ingenuity. Its gentle voice, calmly relaying information, serves as a constant educational companion. The PC storage systems, silently holding countless Pokémon in a digital limbo, represent a quiet revolution in resource management and ethical care. The soft click of a button, the gentle hum of data transfer, these are the sounds of a modern world built on intelligent design. Even the healing machines at Pokémon centers, with their gentle whir and reassuring glow, embody a quiet dedication to well-being, restoring Pokémon to full health with a swift, almost magical efficacy. These technological marvels are not intrusive or jarring. Rather, they blend seamlessly into the natural world, operating with a quiet grace, serving as gentle facilitators of exploration and care. They are tools, not masters, designed to enhance the journey, to quietly support the symbiotic relationship between humans and Pokémon. The various regions themselves, each with its unique climate, geography, and distinct culture, contribute to this rich tapestry of quiet diversity. From the sun-drenched beaches of Alola to the snow-capped peaks of Sinnoh, from the bustling metropolises of Unova to the serene countryside of Galar, each region offers a different flavor, a fresh perspective. The gentle lapping of waves in tropical seas, the soft crunch of snow underfoot in mountainous terrains, the distant murmur of city life, the quiet rustle of leaves in ancient forests, these are the ambient sounds that define each locale. Exploring these regions is a journey of discovery, a gentle immersion into diverse environments and traditions. Each new Pokémon encountered, each new person met, each new landmark visited, adds another gentle layer to the understanding of this vast, interconnected world. The regional variations in Pokémon species, in architectural styles, in culinary traditions, all speak to the gentle evolution of distinct identities within a larger unified world. It's a quiet celebration of difference, a gentle encouragement of exploration and open mindedness. Even the concept of battling, seemingly intense, holds a deeper, quieter meaning. It's not about aggression for aggression's sake, but about strategic thinking, about understanding strengths and weaknesses, about the careful application of skill and teamwork. The quiet focus in a trainer's eyes, the subtle nods of communication with their Pokémon, the silent calculations of attack and defense. These are the true essence of a Pokémon battle. The gentle thud of an attack connecting, the soft gasp of an audience, the quiet sigh of relief or disappointment. These are the sounds of a contest of wills, respectfully engaged. It's a structured form of interaction, a way for Pokemon to test their abilities, to grow stronger, to build resilience, all within a framework of mutual respect and sportsmanship. The quiet embrace after a hard fought battle, the gentle pat on a Pokemon's head, signifies the deep bond that transcends the competition, strengthening the relationship even further. The vast ocean, teeming with its own unique ecosystem, provides a profound sense of quiet depth and mystery. The gentle ebb and flow of tides, the silent currents that carry unseen life, the vast, unexplored abysses. These are realms of immense tranquility and untold secrets. The soft glow of bioluminescent Pokemon in the deep, the silent migration of great marine beasts, the gentle swaying of kelp forests. These are the silent ballets of the underwater world. Diving into these depths, even metaphorically, can evoke a powerful sense of peace, a gentle reminder of the immense scale of life on this planet. The hushed whispers of ancient mariners' tales, the quiet legends of colossal sea creatures, all add to the allure of the ocean's gentle, enduring mystery. It's a world within a world, a silent, thriving ecosystem that operates on its own ancient rhythms, largely untouched by the hurried pace of the surface. And then there are the quiet, unassuming Pokemon, often overlooked, yet each contributing to the ecosystem in its own gentle way. The Bidoof, tirelessly building dams and shaping waterways, the Caterpie, diligently munching on leaves, preparing for its gentle metamorphosis, the Pidgey, quietly soaring through the skies, maintaining ecological balance. These seemingly ordinary Pokemon are the unsung heroes of the natural world, their quiet actions forming the very foundation of its health and vibrancy. Their simple existence, their gentle dedication to their natural roles, can offer a profound sense of groundedness, a quiet appreciation for the fundamental processes of life. The soft rustle of a bush as a wild Pokemon moves through it, the gentle chirping of unseen insects, the distant calls of nocturnal creatures. These are the sounds of a world teeming with gentle, persistent life, even as the day fades into night. The subtle environmental messages embedded within the lore also carry a quiet weight. The importance of protecting natural habitats, the delicate balance of ecosystems, the consequences of unchecked pollution. These themes are woven gently into the narratives, serving as quiet reminders of our responsibility to the world around us. The silent suffering of a forest damaged by human activity, the gentle resilience of nature as it slowly reclaims what was lost, these are powerful unspoken lessons. The gentle efforts of rangers and environmentalists working tirelessly to protect endangered Pokemon and restore damaged landscapes reflect a quiet commitment to stewardship. It's a world that subtly advocates for living in harmony with nature, for understanding our place within the larger web of life, a gentle urging towards sustainable practices. The gentle arc of a Pokemon's move, the silent energy gathering in its body before an attack, the soft glow of a special ability activating. These moments are not just flashy spectacles, but also quiet demonstrations of natural energy being harnessed and directed. The unseen currents of elemental power, the subtle vibrations of psychic force, the gentle hum of electrical charges, these are the underlying mechanics of a world where supernatural abilities are an intrinsic part of existence. It's a world where the fantastical is grounded in a deep, almost scientific understanding of energy and its manipulation. The quiet concentration of a trainer guiding their Pokemon's actions and the Pokemon's innate understanding of its own powers create a harmonious flow of energy, a gentle dance of cause and effect. The quiet anticipation of a new adventure, the gentle thrill of discovery that comes with entering an unexplored cave or venturing across a new route is a fundamental part of the Pokemon journey. It's not about grand, dramatic entrances, but about the slow, unfolding revelation of a world rich with secrets. The soft echo of footsteps in a dark cavern, the gentle whisper of wind through a mountain pass, the distant sound of water flowing. These are the invitations to explore, to discover what lies beyond the known. Each new town visited, each new person encountered, each new Pokemon caught adds a gentle layer to the ongoing narrative of personal growth and exploration. It's a journey of gentle self discovery where the challenges faced and overcome contribute to a quiet strengthening of character, a growing confidence in one's own abilities. And as the last vestiges of daylight fade and the world settles into its nocturnal rhythm, the quiet beauty of the night takes over. The soft shimmer of starlight on still water, the gentle rustle of leaves as unseen creatures stir, the distant hoot of a noctowl, these are the lullabies of a sleeping world. The silhouettes of familiar landmarks against the softly glowing moon, the gentle coolness of the night air, the profound silence broken only by the natural sounds of the world settling down, all contribute to a sense of deep peace. It's a time for reflection, for quiet contemplation, for allowing the day's events to gently recede, making way for the restorative power of sleep. The Pokemon worlds, in all its intricate detail and gentle wonder, continues its silent vigil, waiting patiently for the dawn, a gentle, comforting presence that accompanies the mind into the tranquil realms of dreams. The gentle ebb and flow of its lore, its mysteries, and its serene beauty all conspire to create a profound sense of calm, a quiet invitation to surrender to the peaceful embrace of slumber, carrying the soft echoes of its vastness into the unconscious. The understanding of energy in the Pokemon world extends beyond just battles and abilities. It permeates the very fabric of existence, shaping landscapes and influencing life cycles in ways both subtle and profound. Consider the phenomenon of mega evolution, so a temporary yet powerful transformation that certain Pokemon can undergo. It's not merely a boost in strength, but a deeper resonance, a fleeting return to a more primal state, or perhaps an accelerated evolutionary surge. This process requires a strong bond between trainer and Pokemon and the presence of specific megastones, which are imbued with a concentrated form of this mysterious energy. The stones themselves are relics of an ancient past, perhaps remnants of a civilization that harnessed energy in ways we can only begin to fathom, or naturally occurring formations that absorbed immense amounts of cosmic or terrestrial power over millennia. The idea that certain minerals can hold such concentrated, transformative power speaks to a world where even inanimate objects can possess latent energy, waiting for the right catalyst to be awakened. This isn't magic in the traditional sense, but a highly advanced, albeit poorly understood, application of natural principles. The energy isn't created, but channeled, focused, and amplified, suggesting an intricate web of interconnected energetic pathways that crisscross the entire planet. And then there's the concept of Z moves, a more recent discovery, yet equally deeply rooted in the world's energetic principles. Unlike Mega Evolution, which focuses on a single Pokemon's metamorphosis, Z moves are a synchronized, incredibly powerful attack performed by both trainer and Pokemon. It requires a Z ring and a specific Z crystal, each crystal attuned to a particular Pokemon type or a universal energy. The elaborate poses struck by the trainer and Pokemon aren't just for show. They are a ritualistic channeling, a deliberate collection and release of ambient energy, amplified through the Z crystal. This suggests a more active role for the trainer in directly influencing the flow of energy, not just through commands, but through physical and mental synchronization. It's a testament to the profound connection that can develop between humans and Pokemon, a bond so strong that it can manifest in explosive, type specific energy bursts. The very existence of Z crystals, each shimmering with a concentrated essence of a particular elemental type, implies that the elemental forces of the world, fire, water, grass, electric, and so on, are not just abstract concepts, but tangible collectible energies that can be harnessed and directed. One can imagine ancient civilizations perhaps having rituals or technologies to extract and refine these energies, leaving behind the Zade crystals as a legacy. Or perhaps they are naturally occurring geological formations, rare and precious, formed under immense pressure in specific elemental conditions over eons. The fact that the Alola region, with its strong spiritual and cultural ties to nature, is where Z moves were rediscovered, also suggests a deeper, perhaps spiritual connection to the land and its energies. The concept of regional variance, too, offers a fascinating glimpse into the adaptability of Pokemon and the subtle influences of their environment. A Pokemon like Vulpix, typically an ice type in the Alola region, is a fire type in other parts of the world. This isn't just a cosmetic change, it's a fundamental alteration in its elemental affinity, its abilities, and its very biology. It implies that the environment, over generations, can subtly reshape a Pokemon's genetic makeup, aligning it with the dominant elemental energies of its habitat. The scorching sun and volcanic activity of Alola might have gradually cooled the fiery Vulpix into its icy counterpart, or perhaps the prevalence of cold mountain peaks influenced its evolution in ways that caused it to adapt to the lower temperatures. This isn't just evolution in the Darwinian sense of natural selection, but a more direct, almost mystical adaptation to environmental energy. It suggests a fluidity in Pokemon biology, a responsiveness to the energetic landscape that allows them to thrive in diverse conditions. The gentle shift in their fur patterns, the subtle alteration in their cries, the change in their elemental attacks, all are quiet indicators of this deep connection to their surroundings. Even the phenomenon of shiny Pokemon, those incredibly rare individuals with different colorations, hints at a subtle deviation in their energetic makeup. They are not stronger or weaker than their regular counterparts, but their unique hues suggest a slight variation in their internal energy signature, a gentle shimmer that manifests outwardly. Perhaps it is a slight mutation, a random energetic anomaly that results in a different pigment absorption or reflection. Or perhaps they are born under specific, rare celestial alignments, or exposed to unique environmental energies during their development, causing this aesthetic change. The quiet thrill of encountering a shiny Pokémon, a moment of pure serendipity, is a testament to the subtle variations that exist within the natural world, a gentle reminder that even within established patterns, there are always unique deviations waiting to be discovered. Consider the role of legendary Pokémon, not just as powerful beings, but as embodiments of natural forces and cosmic principles. Arceus, the alpha Pokémon, is said to have shaped the universe with its 1,000 arms, bestowing life and order upon chaos. It is not merely a creature, but a concept, a primal force of creation itself. Its various plates, which change its type, represent the fundamental elements of the universe, suggesting that Arceus can embody any and all elemental energies. The quiet awe inspired by such a being is not just about its power, but about the profound implications of its existence. The idea that a single entity could be the origin point for all life and all matter. Dialga and Palkia, masters of time and space respectively, are not just powerful dragons, but living manifestations of these fundamental dimensions. Their very presence stabilizes reality, and their absence or disruption can lead to catastrophic consequences. The quiet understanding that these beings, often unseen and untouched by human hands, are constantly working to maintain the delicate balance of the universe adds a layer of profound mystery to the world. Their gentle, silent vigil ensures the continued flow of existence. And then there are the myths and legends surrounding Pokémon like Giratina, the renegade Pokémon, banished to the distortion world for its aggressive nature. This other dimension is not just a different location, but a place where the laws of physics are distorted, where time and space behave erratically. It's a quiet contemplation on the consequences of imbalance, a gentle reminder that even within a world governed by order, there can exist realms of chaos and paradox. Giratina's existence speaks to the idea of opposing forces, of light and shadow, creation and destruction, all being integral parts of a larger cosmic tapestry. Its quiet, watchful presence in the distortion world, a realm unseen by most, is a powerful symbol of the unseen forces that constantly shape the known world. Even the more localized legends, such as those surrounding the ancestors of humanity and their interactions with Pokémon, reveal a deeper connection. The stories of ancient kings and queens forging bonds with powerful Pokémon, or shamans communing with spirits for guidance, speak to a time when the line between human and Pokémon was perhaps less defined, when understanding was more intuitive and communication more direct. These aren't just fairy tales, they are echoes of a shared history, a gentle whisper from the past that reminds us of a time when humanity lived in closer harmony with the natural and supernatural world. The quiet contemplation of these histories allows for a deeper appreciation of the present day relationship between humans and Pokémon, a relationship that has evolved over millennia but still retains its core essence of companionship and mutual respect. The very concept of a Pokemon Center, a ubiquitous and comforting presence in every town, speaks to the world's underlying compassion and care. These centers, staffed by dedicated nurses and supported by advanced technology, offer instant healing and restoration to any Pokemon, free of charge. It's a quiet testament to the value placed on Pokemon well being, a gentle assurance that no matter the hardship faced, there's always a place of refuge and recovery. The gentle hum of the healing machine, the soft glow of the recovery capsules, the kind words of the nurse, these are all parts of a soothing ritual, a gentle reminder that even in a world of battles and challenges, care and compassion prevail. It's a comforting thought, a quiet cradle of safety in a world full of adventure. The Pokedex, too, is more than just an electronic encyclopedia. It's a tool for understanding, a quiet invitation to observe and learn. Each entry, meticulously compiled, offers a glimpse into the biology, behavior, and energetic properties of a Pokemon. It allows for a systematic yet gentle exploration of the world's diverse ecosystems. The quiet satisfaction of completing a Pokedex entry, of adding another piece to the grand puzzle of life, is a core part of the journey. It's not about conquest, but about comprehension, about widening one's understanding of the intricate web of life that surrounds us. The gentle whir of the Pokedex as it scans a new Pokemon, the soft glow of its screen as information appears, are all part of this quiet pursuit of knowledge. Even the act of fishing, a tranquil and patient pursuit, offers a connection to the world's underlying energies. The old rod, the good rod, the super rod, each allows access to different than aquatic Pokemon, hinting at subtle energetic vibrations in the water that attracts specific species. The quiet patience required, the gentle cast of the line, the subtle tug of a bite. These are all small rituals that connect the trainer to the serene rhythms of nature. It's a quiet moment of stillness, a gentle communion with the unseen life beneath the surface, a reminder that much of the world's wonders remain hidden, waiting for a patient observer to reveal them. The gentle patter of rain, the soft crunch of leaves underfoot, the distant call of a bird. These ambient sounds are not just background noise. They are the quiet symphony of a living world, each note contributing to the overall sense of peace and natural order. The world of Pokemon is rich with these subtle sensory details, designed to evoke a sense of calm and wonder. The gentle sway of tall grass as a wild Pokemon emerges, the soft glow of moonlight illuminating a forgotten ruin, the quiet rustle of a sleeping Snorlax. These are the moments that truly define the immersive experience. And as the night deepens and the world begins its slow descent into slumber, the mysteries of the Pokemon universe continue to unfold in the quiet corners of our minds. The subtle interplay of light and shadow, the gentle whispers of ancient legends carried on the night breeze, the profound silence broken only by the rhythmic breathing of a sleeping Pokemon, all contribute to a sense of profound peace. It's a world that invites gentle exploration, quiet contemplation, and a deep appreciation for the intricate dance of life and energy that defines it. The gentle hum of distant machinery, the soft glow of a street lamp in a deserted town, the quiet movement of celestial bodies across the night sky all contribute to a feeling of a deep serenity, a gentle assurance that the world continues its quiet, ordered existence, even as we drift into the peaceful embrace of dreams. The gentle echoes of its vastness, its interwoven lore, its tranquil beauty continue to resonate, a soft lullaby carrying us deeper into a restorative, dream filled slumber. The concept of sleep itself within the Pokemon world is a fascinating one, often depicted as a natural restorative state, yet also imbued with a subtle magical quality. Consider the move Rest, where a Pokemon can instantly recover from debuffs and debilitating conditions simply by falling into a deep slumber for a turn. This isn't just a biological function, it suggests a profound energetic rebalancing, a spiritual cleansing that occurs during unconsciousness. The Pokemon isn't merely tired, it's actively drawing upon a deeper wellspring of internal energy, a subtle connection to the restorative forces of the universe to mend itself. This instantaneous recovery hints at a fundamental understanding of energy flow and healing that transcends simple biological processes. It's a reminder that even in its most vulnerable state, a Pokemon remains deeply connected to the ambient energies that permeate its world. Then there's the phenomenon of Pokemon like Muna and Musharna, creatures intrinsically linked to dreams and the subconscious. Muna, with its ability to consume dreams and emit a soothing mist, suggests a direct interaction with the very fabric of our sleeping minds. It doesn't just observe dreams, it partakes in them, perhaps influencing them, shaping them, or even drawing sustenance from their ethereal energy. Musharna, its evolved form, intensifies this connection, capable of manifesting the dreams it consumes into tangible mist, allowing others to witness the subconscious landscapes of their own minds. This implies a powerful psychic connection, a subtle bridge between the waking world and the realm of slumber, where thoughts and emotions take on a semi corporeal form. It raises questions about the nature of reality itself within the Pokemon universe. If dreams can be made visible, how defined is the barrier between our inner worlds and the external landscape? It speaks to a world where the veil between consciousness and the unconscious is thin, permeable, allowing for direct interaction and subtle influence. The quiet hum emanating from Musharna, the gentle swirling of its dream mist, are sounds and sights that invite introspection, a gentle journey into the depths of one's own mind. Even the act of placing a Pokemon in a Pokeball for storage, while seemingly a straightforward technological function, has subtle implications for their state of being. The Pokemon is not merely compressed, it is suspended, existing in a state that is neither fully awake nor fully asleep, a kind of energetic stasis. This allows for rapid healing and recovery, as if the Pokeball itself acts as a kind of meditative chamber, a personal sanctuary where the Pokemon can recuperate and recharge. The gentle pulsing light from inside a Pokeball, the almost imperceptible hum it emits, suggest a continuous energetic process, a quiet maintenance of the Pokemon's life force. It's a remarkable technology, yes, but one that seems to tap into a deeper understanding of life energy and its preservation. This quiet containment, this suspended animation, allows the Pokemon to rest deeply, to draw upon the ambient energy within the ball, preparing it for its next adventure. Consider the legends surrounding Pokemon like Darkrai, the embodiment of nightmares. While often perceived as a malevolent force, Darkray's existence is more complex. It doesn't intentionally inflict nightmares. Rather, it causes them as a defense mechanism, a natural byproduct of its ethereal nature. Its very presence disturbs the sleeping minds of others, creating unsettling visions. This suggests that even seemingly negative phenomena in the Pokemon world are often rooted in natural processes, in the delicate balance of energies. Darkrai is not evil. It is simply a creature whose very being interacts with the subconscious in a way that to some is frightening. Its existence highlights the subtle interplay between the tangible and the intangible, the conscious and the unconscious, and how these forces can unintentionally impact one another. The soft, wispy tendrils of Darkrai, its quiet, almost mournful cry, are not sounds of aggression, but rather the gentle manifestations of a creature existing on the very edge of our conscious perception. Its solitary nature, its quiet existence in the shadows, further emphasizes its role as a creature of the night, a subtle guardian of the dream world, however unsettling its influence may be. The concept of Pokemon evolving, transforming from one form to another, is another profound mystery, not merely a biological change, but often a spiritual or energetic metamorphosis. The gentle glow that surrounds an evolving Pokemon, the slow, deliberate reshaping of its form, speaks to an internal alchemy, a profound shift in its very essence. It's not just growing, it's becoming something new, something more. This evolution is often triggered by specific conditions, experience, friendship, exposure to elemental stones, or even specific locations. These triggers are not arbitrary. They hint at a subtle energetic resonance, a perfect alignment of internal and external forces that allows for this profound transformation. The soft chimes that accompany an evolution, the gentle light that fills the surroundings, are not just celebratory. They are the quiet sounds and sights of a fundamental shift in the world's energetic fabric. It's a reminder that change is a constant, a gentle unfolding of potential, a quiet testament to the dynamic nature of life itself. The slow, almost imperceptible growth of a Pokemon, the gradual accumulation of experience, the deepening of its bond with its trainer, these are the quiet, organic processes that pave the way for such a magnificent transformation. Even the simple act of walking through tall grass, a staple of Pokemon journeys, carries a subtle significance. The rustling sound, the unexpected encounter with a wild Pokemon, these are not just random events. There's a sense of anticipation, a quiet understanding that something new, something unexpected, might emerge from the unseen. The tall grass acts as a natural veil, a gentle shroud beneath which the vibrant life of the Pokemon world thrives, unseen until the moment of discovery. It's a metaphor for the hidden depths of the world, the quiet mysteries waiting to be uncovered, the gentle surprises that lie beneath the surface of everyday life. The soft brushing of leaves against one's legs, the faint scent of damp earth and wild flora, these are sensory cues that ground the experience, connecting the trainer to the natural world in a very intimate way. The gentle sway of the grass in the breeze, the subtle shift in light as one passes through a shaded patch, all contribute to a feeling of natural immersion, a quiet communion with the wild. The diverse environments themselves, from tranquil forests to serene lakes, from bustling cities to ancient ruins, each possess a unique energetic signature, a quiet hum that influences the Pokemon that inhabit them and the trainers who traverse them. A forest might exude a calming, growth-oriented energy, fostering grass and bug-type Pokemon, while a volcanic region might pulse with raw, fiery power, attracting fire and rock types. These are not just ecological niches, they are energetic landscapes, subtle fields of influence that shape the very fabric of life within them. The quiet whispers of the wind through ancient trees, the gentle lapping of water against a lakeside shore, the distant murmur of city life. These are the ambient sounds that define these energetic landscapes, each contributing to a unique sense of place and belonging. The subtle shifts in temperature, the varying textures of the ground beneath one's feet, the distinct aromas carried on the air. All these sensory details contribute to the rich tapestry of the Pokémon world, grounding the experience in a tangible reality, even as it hints at deeper, unseen forces. The very concept of a legendary or mythical Pokemon speaks to a profound connection to the foundational forces of the universe. These are not merely powerful creatures, they are embodiments of concepts, forces, and even aspects of time and space themselves. Arceus, the supposed creator of the universe, exists in a realm beyond mortal comprehension, its silent, omnipotent presence a constant reminder of the vastness and mystery of existence. Dialga and Palkia, masters of time and space, gently weave the fabric of reality, their quiet movements dictating the flow of causality and the dimensions of existence. Giratina, residing in the distortion world, represents the antithesis of the natural order, a quiet disruption, a subtle counterpoint to the established reality. Those beings are not just characters in a story, they are the silent, constant forces that underpin the entire Pokemon world, their presence felt not through overt action, but through the subtle ripple effects of their very being. The quiet hum of cosmic energy, the slow, deliberate turning of gears within the universe's grand clockwork. These are the sounds that might accompany the existence of such profound beings, a gentle reminder of their immense power and their quiet, constant influence. Their ancient legends, passed down through generations, are not just tales. They are echoes of fundamental truths, gentle whispers of the universe's deepest secrets. Even the quiet act of collecting and cataloging Pokemon, filling the Pokedex, is a pursuit of knowledge that borders on the spiritual. Each entry is a small piece of a larger puzzle, a tiny glimpse into the intricate web of life that defines this world. The gentle click of the Pokedex as a new entry is recorded, the soft glow of the screen displaying newfound information. These are small, satisfying moments of discovery, a quiet affirmation of the interconnectedness of all things. It's a journey of intellectual curiosity, yes, but also one of profound respect for the diversity and wonder of life. The quiet rustle of pages, the soft murmur of information being absorbed, are the sounds of a mind gently expanding, embracing the vastness of knowledge available. The systematic organization, the meticulous detail, all contribute to a sense of order and understanding, a quiet mastery of the natural world through careful observation and gentle categorization. The subtle relationships between Pokemon, their interactions with each other in the wild, often go unnoticed by the casual observer, yet they form a complex ecological tapestry. The gentle nudging of a mother Pokemon protecting its young, the playful chase between two wild creatures, the quiet cooperation of a herd of herbivores grazing peacefully. These are the silent dramas playing out constantly, unseen and unheard by most. These interactions are not just about survival, they are about community, about the delicate balance of an ecosystem, about the quiet rhythms of life and death that define the natural world. The soft chirping of insects, the distant call of a predator, the gentle rustle of leaves as a small Pokémon scurries by. These are the ambient sounds of nature's quiet ballet, a symphony of interconnectedness that hums beneath the surface of conscious perception. The slow, deliberate movements of a foraging Pokémon, the subtle shift in its gaze as it surveys its surroundings, all speak to a deep, instinctual understanding of its place within this intricate web of life. The world of Pokemon, in its deepest essence, is a world of quiet contemplation, of subtle energies, of hidden wonders waiting to be discovered. It is a world that rewards patience, observation, and a gentle spirit. Its mysteries are not shouted, they are whispered on the wind, etched in ancient stones, and reflected in the quiet moments of communion between trainer and Pokemon. As the night deepens further, and the world outside slowly surrenders to the quiet embrace of slumber, the subtle truths continue to resonate, a gentle lullaby for the mind, inviting one to drift effortlessly into a peaceful, restorative dreamscape where the soft glow of moonlight illuminates the gentle secrets of a universe both vast and intimately personal. The gentle ebb and flow of thoughts, the soft murmur of memories, all blend into a harmonious whole, guiding one deeper into the quiet sanctuary of sleep, a place where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, and the subtle energies of the world continue their quiet dance, even as consciousness recedes. The soft, rhythmic breathing, the gentle slowing of the heart, are the body's quiet surrender to this peaceful transition, a final, calming embrace before the journey into dreams begins. The ambient hum of the world begins to soften even further, as if the very air itself is holding its breath in anticipation of the dream state. In this gentle quietude, we can begin to ponder some of the more unsettling aspects of this seemingly idyllic world. For beneath the surface of vibrant battles and heartwarming friendships, there lie whispers of a darker design, theories that suggest a reality far more nuanced, perhaps even a touch macabre, than what is presented in the cheerful light of day. Consider for a moment the Pokeball itself. This ubiquitous device, capable of shrinking creatures of colossal size or immense power down to a mere handful, is a marvel of technology. Yet its very function invites a certain unease. What exactly happens to a Pokemon when it is contained within? Is it merely a state of suspended animation, a convenient pocket dimension, or something more profound, perhaps even a temporary dissolution of its physical form into pure data or energy? The rapid, almost instantaneous transformation from flesh and blood to light and back again suggests a process that borders on the fantastical, challenging our understanding of matter and consciousness. The interior of a Pokeball is often depicted as a comfortable, perhaps even luxurious space, yet it is a space entirely devoid of natural light, of fresh air, of the open sky. Is this truly a benevolent enclosure or a sophisticated form of sensory deprivation designed to pacify and control? The complete obedience of a captured Pokemon, its willingness to battle at its trainer's command, could be seen as a testament to a strong bond, but it could also be interpreted as a consequence of this fundamental alteration of its existence, a subtle reprogramming of its natural instincts. Then there's the concept of evolution, a cornerstone of the Pokemon world. While often portrayed as a natural progression, a growth into a stronger, more capable form, some evolutions hint at a more unsettling transformation. Take, for instance, the ghastly line. Ghastly, a gaseous entity, evolves into Haunter, a more solid yet still spectral being, and then into Gengar, a fully corporeal ghost. This progression from pure energy to tangible form is intriguing. But what if the initial forms, like ghastly, are not merely spirits, but remnants? Echoes of something that once was, coalescing into a more defined existence through exposure to battle and experience. The idea that some ghost Pokémon might be the lingering consciousness or energy of deceased creatures, or even humans, is a recurring whisper in the lore. If a ghastly is a collection of disembodied energy, does its evolution into Gengar represent a rebuilding, a rematerialization of a lost form, or perhaps the formation of a new, distinct entity from this raw spiritual essence? The implications of such a process are profound, blurring the lines between life, death, and existence itself. And what of the Porygon line? Creatures born entirely of programming and digital data. Their existence raises questions about artificial intelligence and sentience. Are they truly alive in the biological sense, or are they complex algorithms that merely simulate life? Their ability to learn, adapt, and even display emotions suggests a form of consciousness, but one that originated not from natural biological processes, but from human ingenuity. The idea that humans can create life, even in a digital form, with the capacity for thought and feeling, is a concept that has long fascinated and troubled philosophers. The glitches and errors that sometimes plague Porygon, leading to its controversial episode in the anime, serve as a stark reminder of the potential instability and unforeseen consequences of dabbling in such profound technologies. Are these glitches merely programming errors, or are they perhaps glimpses into the raw, unpolished consciousness of a being struggling to define itself within a digital framework? The very concept of legendary Pokémon also holds a certain weight of mystery and sometimes a hint of dread. These are not merely powerful creatures, they are often depicted as deities, creators, or destroyers of worlds, beings whose existence predates recorded history. Arceus, said to have shaped the universe with its 1,000 arms, possesses power beyond human comprehension. But what if this creation was not entirely benevolent? What if the very fabric of existence, as woven by Arceus, contains inherent flaws, elements of chaos that are beyond even its control? The constant struggles between legendaries, their destructive clashes that reshape landscapes and alter climates, suggest a world perpetually on the brink, kept in balance by forces too vast and ancient for mortals to fully grasp. The quiet presence of these ancient beings, their rare appearances, could be interpreted not just as their reclusiveness, but as a deliberate distancing from the chaotic nature of the world they created, a subtle acknowledgement of the imperfections inherent in their grand design. Consider the unsettling implications of Pokémon like Cubone, forever mourning its deceased mother, wearing her skull as a helmet. This image, while poignant, is also deeply melancholic and a stark reminder of mortality within this vibrant world. The cycle of life and death is ever present, yet this particular depiction of grief is unusually direct and visceral. It raises questions about the emotional capacity of Pokémon, their understanding of loss, and the enduring nature of their bonds. If a Cubone carries such profound sorrow, what other hidden griefs and traumas might other Pokémon endure, unseen and unacknowledged by their human companions? The gentle rustle of leaves in a forest, the distant cry of a nocturnal Pokémon, might not always be calls of joy or communication, but perhaps echoes of ancient sorrows, subtle expressions of a deep, collective melancholy that permeates the natural world. And what of the Pokémon that mimic humans or absorb their essence? The unsettling concept of a Kadabra, said to have once been a boy with psychic powers, hints at a terrifying transformation, a loss of self. The idea that a human consciousness could be so utterly subsumed and reshaped into a Pokemon form is a profound and disturbing thought. It blurs the lines between species, suggesting a fluidity of being that is both wondrous and terrifying. Is this a rare occurrence, or does it happen more often than we realize? Could some of the Pokemon we encounter daily have once been something entirely different, their past lives forgotten, their memories replaced by the instincts of a new form? The quiet whispers of the wind through ancient ruins might carry not just the sounds of nature, but the faint, forgotten echoes of human voices, trapped in a timeless transformation. The very act of battling, while presented as a sport, also contains a darker undertone. Pokemon are pitted against each other, sometimes to the point of unconsciousness, for the entertainment and advancement of their trainers. While healers like Nurse Joy meticulously mend their wounds, the psychological impact of constant combat, of repeated defeat and pain, is rarely explored. Do Pokemon experience fear, trauma, or a sense of existential dread when facing a much stronger opponent? The silent gaze of a Pokemon after a particularly brutal battle, the subtle tremble in its posture, could be interpreted not just as exhaustion, but as a deeper, unspoken distress. The quiet moments after a fierce encounter, when the dust settles and the cheers subside, perhaps hold a silent reckoning for the Pokemon involved, a quiet processing of the violence that they have endured. Even the cute and seemingly harmless Pokemon can harbor unsettling secrets. Consider the tales of certain fairy type Pokemon, whose playful demeanor often masks a mischievous, even malevolent streak. Some folklore depicts them as luring travelers astray, or playing tricks that range from harmless pranks to genuine peril. The gentle glow of a distant, will-o'-the-wisp like Pokemon in a dark forest, though alluring, might not be a source of comfort, but a subtle lure into unknown dangers, a quiet invitation to a fate whispered only in hushed tones. The innocent appearance, the sweet melody, can be a deceptive veil, concealing an ancient, primal instinct that cares little for human well-being. The pervasive reliance on technology, from the Pokedex to the healing centers, also raises questions about humanity's relationship with nature. Have humans become too dependent on artificial means to interact with and control the Pokemon world? Is the technology truly enhancing the natural bond, or is it subtly eroding it, creating a barrier between species that was once more fluid and intuitive? The soft whir of a charging healing machine, the gentle beep of a Pokédex, these sounds of technological omnipresence weave into the natural soundscape, a constant reminder of humanity's ever-present hand in shaping the world around them. The quiet hum of city lights, the distant glow of a metropolis, represent a human-made counterpoint to the natural rhythms, a silent testament to an evolving, perhaps even encroaching civilization. The mysteries are not always grand or epic. Sometimes they are found in the quiet corners, in the subtle discrepancies within the lore. The ghost stories whispered around campfires, The ancient texts that speak of forgotten rituals, the unexplained disappearances in remote regions. These small fragments of information, when pieced together, paint a picture of a world far more complex and perhaps even perilous than the one we are usually presented with. The soft crackle of a dying campfire, the gentle hoot of an owl in the distance. These sounds might be comforting, but they also serve as a subtle backdrop to these lingering questions, to the unsaid and the unexplained. As the night deepens further and the boundaries between wakefulness and slumber become increasingly blurred, those quieter, darker theories can begin to resonate with a gentle, hypnotic rhythm. They are not meant to frighten, but to invite contemplation, to encourage a deeper understanding of a world that is far richer, far more intricate, and perhaps a touch more enigmatic than it first appears. The gentle rise and fall of breath, the steady beat of the heart, become a kind of meditation, allowing these thoughts to drift through the mind like wisps of mist, settling gently before dissolving into the vast, limitless expanse of the unconscious. The world of Pokémon in its entirety is a grand tapestry woven with threads of wonder and mystery, of light and shadow, and in embracing both, we find a deeper appreciation for its quiet, enduring magic. The soft glow of the moon, now casting long, gentle shadows, seems to illuminate these very thoughts, inviting a peaceful descent into the realm of dreams, where all such mysteries find a quiet, unhurried space to unfold. The subtle hum of the world continues, a lullaby of whispered secrets, guiding the mind toward a serene and restorative rest, where the gentle currents of thought carry one effortlessly into the embrace of sleep.